She's alive! Alive!
Hello and welcome to the Horrorverse headlines. Episode number one for the new year, for our new year.
Exciting.
Kind of a reboot, kind of a rename. Mm-hmm. It's the weekend update, but better. Because, look, we were missing for about a week there. Yeah. We just dropped off the face of the earth because we were a bit sick. Our tummies weren't feeling great. We were a little run down. And then in the kind of midst of all that, we're kind of sitting there and we're talking and we're like, it's been a year. It's time to kind of look at what we've done. Yeah. What can we do better? And, what can we change to make the show better, everything better?
Exactly.
And we started making some changes. And first of all, we are rebooting the weekend update. The weekend update, what it was supposed to be was like 15 minutes of us just talking shit. And then it just kind of developed into something that sometimes it was a news show, sometimes it was us talking shit, sometimes it was us talking backstage, behind the scenes stuff. Yeah. But at the end of the day, there was nothing there. And because we were trying to figure out how to do the whole recording thing, and we still haven't gotten it perfect, but the sound quality varies so much from one week to the next. And what we were doing was varying so much from one week to the next that we decided that maybe it would be a better idea to just get rid of it, start from scratch, and do something a little more well-researched. Something we didn't have time to research what we were doing a lot of the time.
There was a lot crammed in.
You're just grabbing whatever was in front of us. It was like, we're going to use that, and that this week for the weekend update. And it was like, fuck, we're struggling. But last week kind of gave me the chance to catch up on a lot of work as well. So I'm well ahead of myself now. So I have time now to properly schedule everything. And that means that we have time to do stuff like what we're trying to do right now. Because that's not the only thing that's getting rebooted. We were looking at playing with bones. And there's no problem with playing with bones.
It's just I couldn't give it the time that I wanted to give it.
It's bi-weekly, and then you're trying to cram everything into an episode, an hour, And I said to you, well, maybe we do seasons. And you do 6 weeks on one subject or one kind of general idea of a subject, and we'll work on that, and you do that 6 weeks. And then the next 6 weeks, I'll do a wrestling history podcast. And I mean history now. I'm not talking I'm going back to the Attitude Era. I'm going back to the Carney days. I'm working my way through the NWA, and we're going to get on to WWF eventually in Monday Night Wars. That's a long way.
I'm looking forward to it, to be honest.
I've been doing a lot of reading for it. It's interesting stuff. I mean, the Montreal Screwjob was a famous one in the 90s, but I've been reading about the Montreal Screwjob that happened in, I can't remember, was it the 30s or 40s?
The original Montreal Screwjob.
That's what it's known as. Yeah. So there'll be a lot of that, and we'll swap back and forth. So 6 months I'll do it, or 6 weeks will be my show, then 6 weeks will be season 1 of Amy's show, then 6 weeks of season 2 for my show, and back and forth. And that'll be all on Patreon. And we are discussing the idea of those shows eventually making their way to Spotify after a certain amount of time. So So you'll eventually hear it on Spotify, but it could be a year down the road before you hear it on Spotify. But something you will start hearing on Spotify now is Real Monsters. If you've been looking at our Spotify, you'll notice that stuff has been going missing. First of all, it was the weekend update that got purged.
Gone.
And then we were like, well, if you're a horror fan and you're coming to our page for horror, you got to wade through a lot of true crime to get there.
So kind of deserved its own stream.
But that was it. And the mini monsters have been getting nice enough numbers as well that they kind of was like, well, maybe we just push them over to another solo profile.
Exactly.
And we bring Real Monsters from Patreon to the mainstream with it. So we are going to do a true crime show. But again, I said we did it to Live Alive because I didn't want to step on any true crime people's feet and get in their business. Because I said to you, it's the perfect kind of position that we're in here. Because horror people are going to look at us and say, well, they're not doing review shows and they're not doing summary shows. They're doing something different so we can support this. They're not trying to take our audience away. True crime people are looking at us and going, well, they're doing something true crimey, but they're not really using true crime people, so they're not really getting in our fucking way either. So we actually managed to stand ourselves in the middle where everybody might like us. Yeah. We're not getting in anyone's way. It's an original idea and we're tearing away with it. So I would like to kind of preface, because I finally figured out what Real Monsters is, because I love Real Monsters. I really enjoy it.
I enjoy Real Monsters.
I've enjoyed it.
Yeah.
What Real Monsters is like a true crime rabbit hole. It's the start of the rabbit hole. We give you mini monsters over the week, and that's the first thing to pique your interest of. Like, this is just most of the time it's just the Wikipedia kind of bio of what it is, and we go through it. Yeah. And then at the end of the week, you'll get Real Monsters, where we'll discuss it a little more, but it's not really in depth. It's not like a long form show. We do 4 topics in an hour.
Exactly.
And we kind of touch on what we think of the topics, and we discuss it like back and forth ourselves. But again, it's kind of to set you off on the rabbit hole, because then you see these 4 topics and you'll be like, well, I wonder what happens if I YouTube this and you tear off and enjoy it, and we just find 4 more topics because we do the same thing.
Yeah.
Once we're done recording Real Monsters, documentaries start. Oh, we're just coming up to Real Monsters. Once the minis are done, we're on documentaries and everything. So I think all these changes are going to make things flow a bit better. I mean, especially, I think Mini Monsters and Real Monsters having their own spot is going to be nice because that'll clean that up. Our main page for a main show is just going to be this show and the main show from now on. And I think that'll clean that up so you can get your horror fucking choices real quick. And then when you go to our Patreon, you're getting Real Monsters on Tuesday. You're getting all your minis on Monday and Real Monsters on Tuesday. So you're getting it early over there. The main show is going to go up a day early over there and ad-free. This show, again, is impossible because we're going to be doing a kind of... This one's always on the line because you want to get the news stories in. Because we are going to really focus on news stories now. We're going to do a few horror news stories. We're going to do a few crime stories. And then we will give you... Well, for this week, we're definitely... You'll get maybe a snippet of Real Monsters at the end of every show just to promote it. This week, we're going to give you the whole episode, which is actually episode 16. So when we have everything uploaded onto the new profile... It's not 16
episodes, it's 100. Oh, yeah, I know, but really what you get on that stream is more than 16.
There'll be 64 Mini Monsters and 16 episodes going up in the next week. You got to bear with me on that one. It's going to take me some time to move everything around. But we're going to start tomorrow and we're going to start uploading stuff. And then all those old episodes that we have up there, they're going to go away for a little while and we're going to intermittently throw them in there as well so they'll come back so that we can use them for Real Monsters. So I'm looking forward to all that. That's lots going on, but I'm really looking forward to the idea of having the seasons for our history shows.
Oh yeah,
for the horrific history and the wrestling history. The wrestling history show is called Wrestling with My Missus. I'm going to teach Amy all. She tries to teach me about horrific history. I'm going to try and teach her about wrestling.
I think I do good with the wrestling.
You will. See, that's the only thing I was worried about, right? When I called it Wrestling with My Missus, I was like, people are going to tune into this and expect you to be very like, oh, fuck's sake. Amy actually watches a lot of the pay-per-views with me. Amy was my manager when I was a wrestler. She came out with us. She came out with the tag team. You did about 3 or 4 matches with us, didn't you? It was coming near the end of our run.
Exactly.
But
it was fun for those 3 or 4 matches.
Yes, so I mean, it's not like you're...
A newbie.
No. But I mean, if something happened to me tomorrow and I dropped dead, you wouldn't watch wrestling again. Chances are it would be if you
probably
saw it on...
The Boys. I'd probably sit down and watch The Boys.
If you understand, you get into it a bit now.
Yeah.
So, I mean, but I'm going right back. So we're going to start with... I don't know if we'll start with the Carnies straight away. I might go back and forth. I might start with the NWA first because people understand who the NWA are and they know about it. And there's a lot of good history, and I'll profile wrestlers like Lutez and guys like Jesus Christ. Oh, I have all these guys' names in my head. Toots Mont and there's Fred Koch and there's one that I keep trying to get out of my mouth and it's cracking me the fuck up.
Gonna have to take notes, Josh.
No. This one's driving me mental because I've read so much about him and it's annoying me now that I don't know his name. Ed the Strangler Lewis. God damn it! And that guy was around for a long ass time. They've all been around. They all did a real long run. I mean, you think Ric Flair was looking old when he got in the ring there last year or whatever. I mean, Lutez was supposed to still be going when he was in his 60, 70 for the odd match.
But those Japanese guys you threw on the other night, they were...
The picture I showed you, that wasn't just Japanese title guys. One of them is Dory Funk Jr., who I thought was dead long ago. Because you always saw Terry around the place, but you never saw Dory around, and you knew they were a tag team back in the day. And I just assumed when he wasn't around the place that probably died. Because as far as I know, he was the older of the two. Yeah. But Terry died last year. And for his anniversary this year, his 80-odd-year-old fucking brother decided to get in and have an exploding death match. No barbed wire, though.
Fair play. Oh, well, yeah, I would imagine that. Nah.
Fucking that one picture. We're not going to see it until September. Oh, it's September now. We're going to see it this month. But yeah, we'll be talking a lot more wrestling on that.
Yeah.
So we'll have everything will be coming up early. You'll get all our old stuff will be still up there, except for the weekend update. That's gone. Yeah. And you'll have our 2 new shows running back to back. But that doesn't mean Playing with Bones is going to go on a hiatus for about a month. Well, I'm going to come in first with 6 weeks of my shit, and then we're going to come back for 6 weeks of your show. So you will be gone.
It'll be nice being able to take a step back every 6 weeks and just... be thought.
But that's it, just to have a chance to catch your breath. Like,
Yeah,
you know?
exactly.
So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. And then this week we have a lot. I mean, like, I can actually talk about what we have planned now as well, because the stuff is ready. We're ready to go.
Yeah.
We're going into this week, new year for us, starting off where we started off last year. We're going back into Ghostface stuff. We're going to do, this isn't a full pack, this is Ghostface 4.5 or 4.2. It's half. 4.5. We're not going all the way to 5 because I have a story ready for 5, and it's going to be a 2-parter, and that's way down the road. It might be next year's anniversary.
Yeah.
But this year we're not looking specifically at the Woodsboro stuff. We're looking at everything else, every other copycat killing that's happened with a Ghostface mask.
Okay.
There is a fucking lot of them. And they're not all in the horror. Well, obviously, this is the show where I get to talk outside the Horrorverse. Anyone that's listening to this now, be warned, this week's show actually has true crime in it. Real true crime, because a lot of dumb fucks have put on that mask and tried to kill people. A lot of dumb fucks have put on that mask and killed people, but they're usually caught after one because they're dumb fucks. And Jesus Christ, we're on Real Monsters this week. You'll hear it over on the other stream. You will hear us talk about 2 of those dumb fucks, and they are the ones that killed Cassie Jo Stoddard. And I found videotape of them talking about it before they went to do it.
Yeah, no, I remember that.
And directly afterwards, like, they're in the car with the camera, they're talking about going to do it. Next thing you see, the timestamp change to later on,
and they've
night,
done it,
and they're like, "Oh my god, oh my god," and they're free, and they're not even that much freaking out. They're
not. They're talking about it quite calmly to be in the grand scheme of things. Like
it's mental shit, man. It is absolutely mental shit. But we'll get into all that as well this week on Real Monsters, so I'm looking forward to that. But that's obviously touched on this week. There's a bunch of them this week, and then when we're done with that, we are finally going interstellar with this podcast, because we got 2 weeks of Xenomorphs. And hang on, let me get this again. Yatuja. I don't know. I got to get the pronunciation right. The Predators. And there's a few more alien species thrown in there as well. So we're going to profile them, and they are really detailed profiles. It goes right into their history and all this stuff. It's really cool. And we're going to pretend like they're a big conspiracy story thingy, and that's going to be awesome. And then you got a couple of weeks worth of scary stuff coming, and then I got what I'm not going to tell you about, and that's this year's Halloween project. Last year I did 4 weeks of Myers. This year I got plans as well. One I've been looking forward to. One I get to start work on tomorrow. And then
you look excited.
Yes. So okay, we're going to get on with this, because this week you are going to get the full Real Monsters from last week on this episode. It's going to be attached to this episode. So when this is over, it's just going to keep on playing, so you can enjoy that. And we're going to be talking in that episode about, what was it? It's been 2 weeks since I recorded that episode now. We did Jeff the Talking Mongoose. We did Shadow People. Yeah. We did the Somerton Man. And we did, what's her name? Dyer, wasn't it?
Amelia Dyer.
And she looks like Robin Williams from... if Robin Williams was doing it...
Doubtfire.
Yeah. But like Mrs. Doubtfire... See, Mrs. Doubtfire, you could nearly get away with saying that isn't Robin Williams. It like clearly looks like Robin Williams just wearing a wig.
Yeah.
There's no glasses. There's no prosthetics. It just looks like Robin Williams with a wig. Look at our Instagram. There's a video from Amelia Dyer up there, and it's going to be up there. And that's another thing we're going to update as well. Our videos are going to move now. Yeah. They're not going to be one solid picture. Sometimes it's going to be you and me talking. Sometimes it's going to be clips from news stories and all that around the time. You got to bear with us. Because like everything here, we are learning as we go along. This is 100% punk DI fucking Y shit. We literally started this and said, we're going to do this. And from that point on, we just started buying stuff and trying to work it out as we went along. And we are now onto the phase where we are trying to work out video podcasting.
A lot of that shit really didn't work.
No, I spent not a lot of money.
No,
it was all cheap
but I mean,
shit,
like,
it
didn't, yeah.
I mean, I bought that little box, and then I found a fucking bit of software that does it fucking perfectly here for me. Yeah, and obviously different types of ways to try and dampen sound. We got those other little boxes, those phone boxes to put over microphones.
We have moved location multiple times.
This one works, I think.
It's cold here.
Yeah, and we can put on the fire during the winter. It'd be nice. You'd hear the crackling. Bit of atmosphere.
And we're going to record our Christmas ones on a rug in front of the fireplace.
Oh yeah, looking all sexy.
Yeah,
stretched out there.
Glasses of wine.
But I mean, for now, I can definitely say our promos are going to have videos. Yeah. We're trying to get to the point with video podcasting, but it's been hit or miss. We're recording it for video right now, but I don't know how much that's going to make it to the public because I don't know how much the sound is crossing over. We're just having trouble. We don't have a lot of fucking... It's space. It's fucking finding memory. Everything is filling up with memory, and I don't know where to fucking find the space to record that much time.
Yeah.
And I don't know. Obviously, someone that's been doing this for a long time is listening to this now and going, "You dumb fuck! All you need is this bit of software, and it'll all work for you." Most people are probably just saying, "Why don't you Zoom it?"
We've tried.
We're Skyping at the moment, but we're not using Skype for the audio. That's the thing. I want to keep the audio going through a proper recorder.
Yeah.
To keep the sound as good as possible. So that's where we might be fucking up. I don't know. Fuck it. It's not these people's problem. Well, it is. You got to listen to it so you want good quality. But anyway, look, we're going to crack right on with some news. So like we said, our Patreon stuff is coming out. We will get all our stuff early for the next month, and then our extra shows should start kicking in then with Wrestling with My Missus coming maybe in a month. I'm hoping in October to start that. Worst case scenario, if my October project takes up a lot of time, then it might be a Halloween surprise for you. Anyway, we'll get into horror news, and this week I got two things to look at. One is the Terrifier 3 trailer came out.
Yes, it did.
And it is kicking up all sorts of shit.
Yeah, I heard about the shit before I saw the trailer.
Oh, well, first, like, it's funny because I saw this article first, because we've seen the trailer, and we'll talk about that in a minute. But the first thing I saw about a week ago, just before the trailer dropped, was that, what's his fucking name? David Howard Thornton. He is the actor who plays Art. Said that he almost vomited while shooting a particularly gory scene on set. And that the other people working there, or the crew, were delighted to finally catch him, because it's been like we've done these two movies which are gory as fuck and you have not flinched and we finally got you, kind of thing, It's probably
different when you're the one doing it I wonder, as opposed to
it's a lot of it's so much practical effects as well, so you're getting all that blood and gore right in front of you, like,
That's true.
And it looks real as fuck, to be honest. They're really good at it. And they've only gotten better. I mean, we're impressed when we're watching stuff by Tom Savini back in the 80s.
Oh yeah.
I know we're looking at it, it's like, this is holy shit. Do you know what I like about Art the Clown? It is that very that 80s style go. I know it's graphic, I know it's over the top, but it's still very 80s style, in its way. It's not like Hostel. It's not like you're watching it thinking this is really happening. Do you know?
Yeah.
It's like, this is ridiculous, but it's super gory. I said it to you, if we can get to the cinema today, because I don't know if they'll bring it to our cinema where we're living. If they do,
I think after these articles, it'll be touch and go.
Well, see, that's the thing, is because of what it's touching on, because a lot of people are thinking that maybe the scene that made Thornton sick was the scene that everybody's giving all. No, I will say straight off the bat, people are making assumptions here, okay? Because we haven't seen the movie yet. No one has said this is what they are referencing, because they have referenced a few times that there's going to be some scenes in this movie that are particularly disturbing or particularly over the top, or it's going to rile people up the wrong way.
Yeah.
We've seen the trailer, and we've heard the rumblings, and the people are giving out. And the thing they're giving out is they think there's going to be a lot of a gruesome child murder in this one. And it looks like it because he's playing Santa Claus, and obviously you see the kids around. And there is one scene in the trailer where he has is in an axe or a chainsaw, and there is a kid there, and he's kind of grinning and looking like he's about to swing. So people are assuming that's what's going to happen, and that's what made him feel so sick, and that's what they're referencing as being this over-the-top part that's going to happen in the movie.
See, I don't think they're going to do anything like what they did to in the bedroom scene. Do you know? I don't think they're going to do something like that with the kid.
Well, I would remind you, in Terrifier 1 and Terrifier 2, we both kind of looked at each other and said, at this point, we know where this could go. It's unlikely they will allow this on television. There's no way they could show us this. And then he went and did it. So this is this moment in Terrifier 3? Is this the moment where you're looking and you're going, nah, they couldn't do that. No fucking, oh shit, he's doing it. Is this?
But scene? I mean, like, where do you draw the limit? So, because I mean, like on The Walking Dead, they showed, what was he, 12, getting ripped apart by, like, literally, and that termite on me and acted like close up, getting ripped apart, his face getting ripped apart. That's a 12-year-old, that's still a kid, like. So, I mean, if you were a fan of The Walking Dead and you didn't give them shit for that, why would you? I mean, that's just as nasty.
Yeah, but see, I'm thinking. Sorry, I was just looking at something here in the article. I'm trying to see who said this. They go on to say the Terrifier films are all about gore.
It's just a user on Twitter.
And if you're watching this fucking movie knowing damn well a child may get tortured and killed violently, please block. Well, I think if you do it in an 80s style, if it's really over the top, Like, really ridiculous.
That was from Durfinator, is the nickname.
Well, I'm not taking a guy named Durfinator seriously. Go fuck yourself, Durfinator. No, I'm only joking. We need all the fans we can get. Come on, Durfinator, man. But what I'm saying is, if the child is acting over the top, if the child is acting scared, then yes, people won't like it. But if the child is screaming hysterically in a stupid, comedic, cartoony way, you might get away with it, you know. I mean, if it's more like if this Christmas scene turns out to be like the art scene, you know, where he pops his head out of the wagon kind of thing in your Wan's dream sequence in Terrifier 2, after the kid, because the little kid dies in Terrifier 2 too.
I know, I remember that.
He eats the cereal, he starts bleeding out of his mouth, he dies. So I mean, it's not like
that's not a long torture scene. Like, I think that's what the thing that they might be getting.
You're saying like the bedroom scene shouldn't happen, that kind of thing. What I'm saying is, the build-up to the bedroom scene is what shouldn't happen to the child. The bedroom scene happening to the child isn't a big deal to you because you could get the humour out of it. And I know that sounds disgusting. You can get humour out of it if it's over the top, if it's slapstick, if it's stupid.
Yeah.
But the idea of him being scared beforehand is what bothers you.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So if it's just a case of him running out in a Christmas scene, especially if it's a dream sequence, no one's going to give two shits. Let's face it. If it's a dream, if it turns out that he's killing a bunch of kids in a dream sequence, you're going to be like, well, they're dream kids. Fuck them. You know, they're not real. Yeah. They're fine. It's grand. But if it's a case of he's running around killing real kids, yeah, they might have a problem. I know it's a touchy subject for people. You and me don't particularly like it. You hate it.
I don't like that.
You've completely checked out of movies and TV shows before because of it. I've seen it.
It has to know. I like.
Depends on context.
It depends on context a lot, and it depends on how extreme it is as well. I mean, the start of the Bastard Executioner. Oh no, I get it. But then again, context can change that a tiny bit. Like I like the start of the Bastard Executioner with like the newborn like wrapped around its umbilical cord hanging out of its mother, like in the first scene. Was a bit fucking much.
That show got cancelled after a couple of episodes, so yeah, that'll tell you.
But then I've seen worse than that, like, and I've stayed for the movie, like, watched the full thing, so.
I'll put it to this way. Well, no, this might be a bit way the other way. But I mean, like, when you're watching the child scenes in Dead Alive, you ain't giving out then, are you? You're laughing your ass off thinking it is the best time ever. If it could be almost close to that slap, because it's art, it could be. You could nearly get away with that, especially in a dream sequence. And I think, you know, the one thing that kind of caught me off was because when we were watching the trailer, the trailer kind of kicks off with this podcaster or interviewer talking to Sienna from the last one. And it's kind of, oh, you survived the Jack the Ripper of our age. So to me, it was like, are they grown in this now? Have they realized this is it has legs? So we're going to abandon the ending where Art doesn't have legs. And just go with Art's actually a serial killer.
No, because...
And he's gone missing. Well, yeah, we see in the trailer, his head is there with the little fucking spine, and Chris Jericho's looking all freaked out. Yeah. Oh, Jericho's not get it. I'm looking forward to seeing how Jericho... I love Jericho, but I am looking forward to see how Jericho gets it. I got to keep an eye on his podcast running up to that, because he will interview one of them.
It's going to be medical based. He's an orderly, like, he's definitely...
But we see the head is still there, and so he has to grow out of that and all that kind of thing. So I just thought that maybe they were grounded in it, and then obviously you see they take off with it again. And I do know that the whole plot line will... Well, no, I read this somewhere. I'm pretty sure I'm right about this. The plot line is going to revolve around Sienna and... What's the other kid? Jonathan, who's played by Elliot Fulham. It's going to play around their father, because he wasn't in the first one. Or second one, sorry.
No, yeah.
So they're going to kind of play up around where is he, what happened to him, and what did he have to do with Art? Why something he's done in his past might have something to do with what Art is, why Art is here, why she has the power to defeat him. Because you see, there's all this sort of, because they say like we got to go to see the Terrifier, and then it changes the scene. There's this weird kind of Silent Hill looking motherfucker standing there, and some other woman and Cenobite looking thing. I gotta watch the second one again, because we only watched that once, because it was like, need a break after that. I'm sure we'll watch it before the new one comes out, and that's only less than a month away now. We're only a couple of weeks away. We gotta see, can we find somewhere close by to see this movie?
I would say Dublin at a push, if not Belfast. I go to Belfast. I've never been to Belfast. Go for the weekend.
We'll find it.
Go for the weekend.
Okay, all right. So Terrifier 3, we'll obviously probably be talking about that more coming up over the next few weeks, because it is coming up soon. It's like the second week in October, I think it's coming out.
Terrifier.
We'll have a look. We'll look that up, because we will talk about that again. Another movie that is pretty much been verified this week, and it got casting this week, was Preadtor Badlands. I'm looking forward to that. Because I obviously, because of the show that we got coming up soon, I watched all of Aliens. Because we were going to the Romulus premiere. I wanted to rewatch everything. And I ended up watching all of, after the Romulus premiere, I ended up watching all the Predators. And yeah, it's got by the same director from Prey. His name is, hang on, I got it here because his second name's got me a bit. Dan Trachtenberg. Oh, that's a cool fucking name. And he's going to do this one again, and it's just kind of a standalone here. So it's not going to be connected to Prey. They're all going to be standalone movies, which I like for Predator. I think you don't really need to connect them, but then again, how long until that gets boring? Because I know people have talked about them going Predator in a World War II situation, you know, Predator in different war zones, kind of, and seeing how that plays out, like, you know, which would be a good TV show, I think. Movie, maybe not. If you have to wait 2 years.
Who would they hunt? Because it'd obviously be on a side. Like, who would they see as the hunters, I wonder?
It's a good question. Probably maybe both. I mean, you could do that.
Again, depends on the context.
I mean, I'm sure a lot of people will watch and root for the fucking Predator chasing down Nazis.
Oh, well, yeah. But as in, like, who would the Predator perceive as being, like, the hunters? It would have to be the Nazis, wouldn't it?
Not so much hunter. They don't see him as hunters. They just see him as kind of like a worthy warrior.
Yeah, but the thing, I understand that, but if you've got two going after each other and you want to fight one of them, it's the with the upper hand that the Predator is going to go for.
Yeah, but remember now when you're watching the Predator with Adrian Brody in it, it's not just them on the planet. There's various different types of alien species on that planet, so they're not just focused on one group, and if in fact have it in their eyes, because they are such a predator group, you know, we're not so much a big game hunter kind of feel. The more that's there for them to fight, the more, you know, like, I could be fighting you as a predator, and the fact that there could be something else out there that might jump at me while I'm trying to do it makes me a better warrior. You know, it's all about upping the stakes. So if there's multiple different types of species out there that you're hunting all at the same time, and you know that they're going to fight back at you, that's a bigger thing for them than going one-on-one with someone. So for them to be fighting the Nazis and the Americans and the English and everything, it's a world war, and you're beating everybody in the world war. So that's how I would. No, I can tell you for sure, because I know there's a comic book. Oh, okay. So I'll read that and I'll let you know. But I've never read a Predator comic book. But yeah, the Elle Fanning has been cast for that.
That's a kind of a future one.
Yeah, and I like Elle Fanning.
I like Elle Fanning.
Elle Fanning was awesome in The Great. She was funny. And it's not her first jump into horror. She's had little jumps. She had Mary Shelley, which I haven't seen.
That is very good. Gonna watch it is really worth the watch.
Because I love Frankenstein. I love everything to do with him. And you were telling me The Beguiled is kind of a thriller.
Yeah, American Civil Warrior. It's good.
Thrillers fit in. They fit in with horror. They're cousins. You know?
It's a war thriller.
Same with sci-fi. They all kind of just, they're buddies. They all slip in together.
Umbrella.
The one thing I did think was cool is that Fede Alvarez from Romulus, Alien Romulus, has said that he'd like to do an Alien versus Predator with this guy.
That would be interesting.
So yeah, think of Romulus and think of Prey, and that's a cool mix. You know, it'll look cool. It'll be, and the aliens are so badass. And I mean, like, the Predator in Prey looked cool with that big skull fucking thing in the front of him and all that.
Yeah, it was new, it was different. Like,
that's the cool thing about Predators. Their face does change, switch up. I know you've got multiple xenomorphs out there.
But obviously, because it was a few hundred years ago, their helmets hadn't evolved yet.
Well, that's it. But see, that doesn't really fit in with the long-term timeline. Because they've been coming to Earth, as we see in Alien versus Predator, since the Aztecs and shit like that. So,
are they able to time travel?
That has been discussed too.
See, that is the thing. So that could be like a caveman predator coming forward in time, like
could possibly be. And then there's different things as well, because you have to look at it. No, we'll get obviously further into this 3 weeks time, but you have different tribes and you have different rites of passage. So that could have been a case of he didn't have the proper helmet yet because he hadn't earned the proper helmet yet. Okay. So he had to go and do this first to earn that. You know, he'd earn like the Mandalorian, earning his armor. Pretty much the same kind of concept here, where they earn their armor. Because you see in Alien versus Predator, the alien, after he gets the xenomorph, he takes off his helmet, uses the acid from the xenomorph's blood to mark his helmet. So now he can be seen as he got one. Yeah. And then that bumps him up from being a young blood who needs to be escorted on hunts and watched to mine and do the shitty little hunting to being a full-blown... You're a predator, like, you know, you're one of us, you're a warrior, you know. Yeah. So, yeah, we'll get into all that in the next couple of weeks. But, yeah, I'm looking forward to this. Predator Badlands, that's the only thing we really know about it, is that it's set a little bit into the future.
Fun.
And the principal photography started for it last Tuesday. Cool. So it's on the road, it's coming. It's coming for us. The only other thing I have to talk about this week with horror news is, it's kind of been all over the place all week, is this YouTube movie called Milk and Cereal.
It keeps opening and I don't want to look out the window.
In case Art the Clown's just out there going, hi. Anyway, we have Milk and Cereal, and that's cereal with an S.
Sorry,
as in
what?
Serial killer. Milk and Cereal. It is the YouTube movie that has
like
been a bit of a
the
phenomenon this week.
$800 budget one. Cool.
Yeah. So it was directed by Curry Barker and Cooper Tomlinson, and this is kind of they're a comedy duo. It's a 62-minute slasher movie from what I have read, and they did it all themselves for free, and it released it on YouTube for free, and it is pulling in some serious numbers from what I've heard.
388,000 views on YouTube,
and that it was up 3 weeks, but this is earlier in the week. This article is from it's from ScreenRant.com. I'm looking forward to seeing it. Apparently it's about this one YouTuber trying to prank another YouTuber and things start kicking off and scary things happen. I got to start paying more attention to these low budget movies, because we've seen a few low budget. I mean, when you look at the low budget movies from the 70s and 80s, and we love them now. I mean, New York Ripper, fucking Basket. First Basket Cases. And The Last House on the Left. Maniac. Would you call that low budget?
Maybe it's low budget in my head because it's 70s.
Yeah, I don't know if I'd call that low budget. I'm trying to think. It was a bit.
I'm thinking of the same one, as in like the one with the Tobey Maguire in the remake.
Well, low budget, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I think it would have been. But I also think that the original might have been low budget.
Yeah. Alright, look, come here. It wouldn't cost a whole pile. The effects really are the big part in that. And Tom Savini was the one doing the effects in that one again, because he actually starred in it. He was in the car. He's one of the guy who gets shot in the car by the maniac. Do you remember there's a guy and a girl in the car and they're kind of flirting and getting ready to get down, and the next thing he pops out with a gun and starts shooting through the windscreen. Yeah.
I see Milk and Cereal made a profit already.
Yeah?
Yeah. They sold the camera that they made it on, so they made a profit of $100 already.
Nice. I actually thought something jumped into my head. And
minuscule budget. Yeah. In many scenes in the film were shot guerrilla style.
But again, if it's going to be, it's found footage style. So I mean, if it's found footage webcam, you're going to do that for 800, like, you know, because you're using your webcam.
Oh well,
and stuff.
It's
a piece of pity. Oh no, I have to watch it. Like I said, I have to check it out. And there is like
do it on your phone.
But that's
did they do it on their phone? No, they sold the camera. Sure.
No. But it's the best thing about horror movies, especially like when you look at all the movies we've watched. Low budget get just as much love as the if not more love than the big fucking budget movies.
I will say we have seen some questionable low budget movies in the last few months.
We've seen good ones though too. And if you look at it, back in the day, Halloween, fucking
Texas the majority
Chainsaw,
of them are brilliant.
They're all low budget, like, you know. And we were laughing at that this week because we were watching some documentary and they were going on about all the meanings behind all the different horror movies. And I was looking at you and I was like, and it was Halloween. It was one thing. It was like, oh yeah, you can't outrun death is the point of Halloween. And I kind of looked at you. I goes, I'm pretty sure I heard John Carpenter say the point of this movie was it was cheap and easy, and he didn't expect to make another.
It's because he was coming out after doing some other movie, wasn't it? Or he wanted to go and graduate onto some other movie, so he did something with. I'm
not 100% sure, but I'm pretty sure his reasoning for it was it's just an easy movie to make, and that's exactly how Friday the 13th ended up getting made, because they saw the success of Halloween and were like, well, that's an easy, cheap movie to make. Let's go do it over here.
Do you think Rob Zombie started out with the message?
Oh, probably.
What was the message?
Growing up sucks. I don't know what the message of the second one was. I mean, the first one is pretty fucking standard. Same as the first Halloween, isn't it? You know, he's after. He's going to kill her. And you find out, I mean, you know, he's her brother in this one, though, so that's different. I don't know. I liked it. That's all I'll say. When I watched it, I liked it. This is why I don't review movies. I got two. I realized I have two.
I loved it, or it was terrible.
No, I loved it, or it was grand. That means
I never actually think that I've heard you say that was a shit movie. I'll never watch it again.
That was grand, yeah. I mean, you know, for the time, it was grand. It was entertaining. I'd usually think of, mediocre, fine. I mean, but
I wouldn't watch it again, but that's kind of the burst it gets.
I don't have bad feelings about it. I try and enjoy them. Like, I try and find the best in them. And
there's no point. It's an hour and a half gone, so you might as well kind of enjoy that hour and a half rather than.
I think they just watch movies to find stuff they don't like about them. Do you know? I think horror doesn't have that problem as much, unless you're trying to remake something, in which case then...
Can't really, when you're watching something, like, you know, you can't really be logical about shit either when you're watching horror. You can't go in there. It's
Usually people get more upset about, oh, well, you know, in the original, this person was that person was this person, this is how this person died, that's how that person died, you shitting it, you ruined it, you killed the message. The message was it was cheap and easy to make. Yeah, so that's all our horror news. Oh, no, there's one little bit more news, one little kind of tidbit. It's a little ray of hope there. I have been holding out for fucking a whole year now. A whole year. And on the weekend update, I regularly made pleas.
That we're getting a Chucky series?
No.
Oh.
Trauma.
No
I want
way.
my Toxic Avenger.
Is it happening?
It seems a bit more hopeful because Peter Dinklage spoke about it this week.
Okay.
He was asked about it, and he says it's a great movie, and he wants it to come out. And
Peter Dinklage has to say that, though. He can't say it's a shit movie and we should never release it.
Yeah, but you know yourself, if an actor doesn't really like the movie, and the
They
movie
won't.
isn't exactly getting pushed by the fucking movie. So, I mean, what's her name? Sydney Sweeney, who took a big steaming shit on fucking Madam Web on fucking SNL only a couple of days after it was released, and she's in that movie.
Yeah, but she was only following suit from, your one from 50 Shades Grey. What's her name?
I don't know. Well, this Dinklage is basically saying...
Coda Johnson.
He says he's pretty sure it's coming out. He doesn't know for sure. He said he's not a producer on the thing, so he can't tell you for sure when it's coming out. But he says, as far as he knows, it is eventually going to get a wide release. So we can just wait a bit longer. It's going to be
like when they said Ireland's eventually going to get the Olympics, and they're like 2070 something. We're going to try for it.
I think Kaufman's is the same thing. Lloyd Kaufman is like, well, you know, I'm not a producer on it. I'm not, you know, I have nothing really to do with the release of it. It's not a trauma movie. They bought the rights off us. So you just got to wait. So I don't know. I just hope they don't do that thing they did with the Wile E. Coyote movie and just shelf it for tax reasons. It'd be absolutely shit. It's bound to come out eventually.
It's supposed to be a good movie as well.
The Acme versus Coyote, yeah, and Will Forte is in that.
Things about it.
MacGruber, yeah. I love fucking MacGruber.
I know you do. That you want to word that differently because that came out. You phrased it wrong.
I love fucking
MacGruber.
Our crime this week is going to be soft because we're going to go into Real Monsters after this. And this is mainly Irish crime-ish. This is crime adjacent. It's not full-on crime. Well, it is in this guy's case, but it's kind of, the other one isn't. But I'm going to say...
Did you just say it's crime, but it's not full-on crime?
It's not violent crime.
Okay.
It's not really what we usually do. We usually do. Well, it does fall into stupid crime. It definitely falls into stupid crime. And that's Enoch Burke. All right. For people who don't know, who's not from Ireland, Enoch Burke is this school teacher who is also an evangelical Christian, and he worked in Saint something, it's a hospital school or something like that. Anyway, he was a German and what was the other teacher? German and geography, was it, or German and maths?
German and maths, I think.
What happened was it nearly 2 years ago?
Wilson
now?
Hospital School.
It has to be nearly 2 years ago because he spent a year in jail and he's best part of a year in jail. So anyway, it's pretty much after COVID, when the COVID restrictions eased up and he went back to school. One of his students started identifying as they, them, was it?
I think it was they, them.
They changed their pronouns.
Yeah.
And being an evangelical Christian, this guy wasn't happy about it.
History and politics, it was, sorry.
History and politics. Since then, he has parked himself outside the school in protest every day. So the hours he's supposed to be working, he stands outside the school. He hasn't accepted he's been fired because he refused to refer to her in her pronouns. He got suspended. There was a big thing about it, a big inquest into it. And he lost and he got fired and told by the courts, stop standing in front of this school.
Just stop standing in front
He has refused.
Saying that out loud.
Oh, he's refused and has stood in front of the school every year. He turned up back after being released from Mountjoy Prison only recently, like in the last few weeks. He turned back up for the new school year this week.
There was a time we'd go online every morning just to see if he turned back up at the school. Like.
And he stands outside the school and he stands there all day in protest, basically saying, you know, I'm here to do my job and you're not letting me in. Now, I was wondering, because now obviously all this is toned down a little bit. It boosted a little bit back up in our news cycle because he turned back up again this week. And he's been arrested since, as far as I know. Or no, he hasn't been arrested. The cops came to his house. He's been told to show up at the High Court this week.
That's what it is, yeah.
So he's got to show up at the High Court again. And he's constantly fighting him in the courts as well. He's fighting newspapers for slander. His family had to go with the on post or postal service in the last couple of weeks
For using a rainbow van.
Yeah, they showed up in a pride van. Well, no, all of their vans have been.
It wasn't vindictive or anything like that. They all.
So you have like Pride is written on the side of it in Irish, and there's the rainbow and all this stuff. And this has been going around for a while. But they showed up to drop their mail off, and Enoch Burke's dad fucking told them, you know, you're going against my beliefs by bringing that here, blah, 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 blah. And that's the thing, it is really hypocritical, because they're turning around going, everyone should have their beliefs, so you can't step on mine, but you're shitting all over everybody else's belief. This person's belief is that they are not he, she, or whatever, you know, that they can have whatever. Because I believe in that. I don't care what you think. I don't care what
you are. Like, it's
that's your life, this is my life. You know, you do you and I'll do me, and everyone should be happy. And that's all. It shouldn't bother you if it's not affecting you directly. Yeah. And I don't know how, even if he thought in his own head, well, I'm only doing it to fucking humour him, he couldn't have just referred to them as what they were. Like, why do you have to fuck that person's school life up? Because I had to fuck their school life up.
Oh, absolutely. You know? Yeah, it's not fair.
Because your teacher's being a creep and standing the fuck outside, and being in your head could be your fault that it's all happening like
that's
this.
That's intimidating.
You know? No, I have come up with a solution. And I think it's a great solution. Now, we got 2 solutions here, and I'm willing to do the second one if people need me. They can hire me to do this. Number 1 is, we need to get Enoch Burke away from the front of the school. We erect a huge sign that says, simply, if you support LGBTQ rights, stand here. Dude ain't going to stand there
Put
anymore.
It all around the school.
And if you, well, no, I have a solution for that too. If he starts moving around the school, I will happily do it minimum wage. You give me a sign, I will follow him around with a sign with an arrow coming off it, and anywhere he stands, that's what it'll say. It'll be like, if you support gay pride and LGBTQ rights, stand here. And I will just follow him around with all day. And in the meantime, I will have the village people blaring,
I was just about to say
Full blast, macho man. And I guarantee you Enoch Burke will not be standing there next week. So come to me, Dr. Smokenstein, and I'll sort that fucker out.
Have you hit with a lawsuit in no time?
Why? What am I doing? I'm doing the same thing he's doing. I'm just standing outside the school.
Yeah, actually, true.
If I'm wrong, he's wrong. So that's how we get rid of him. Right? Push him out of the fucking way. Have me follow him around with Macho Man and a sign. I'll even dress up like the Macho Man. Ooh, yeah!
He said that he was told by the principal that he wasn't allowed to have that religious belief anymore, and that's what it's about. But I'm sure the principal didn't say, you can't have your religion anymore. I'm sure it was a thing of like, this is a school.
Practice
and
at home. We leave that at the door now.
Yeah.
And that's your business, and you do what you do at home.
Like, I wonder, is it like a thing of here? I don't know if they still do it in secondary schools, but we always started every class with you know, like Catholic prayer. Yeah. Do you know, but like... I mean, I think in England is it different, like, because it's so like diverse.
Oh, I think it's just flat out not in there.
Yeah, exactly. Like,
we don't do that.
Yeah. Well, then he shouldn't have a fucking problem with it.
Well, go there and work. Do you know? But I mean, my mentality's always been you got to go with the flow on that kind of point, because I'm not a Christian. I've said it many times. I kind of pagan beliefs and all that, and I went into schools as a SNA for a while. And if the kids were asking me about their religion, I did their religion. You know, when our kids went to school, I was like, well, you need a basis for something, so just go learn that religion. And when you're 13, come to me and we can talk. You know, and we can see what you believe then. But I mean, realistically, nobody knows what they believe until they're fucking into their adulthood anyway. Like, you know,
I'm still not straight in that.
So I mean, fucking, you know, the thing is, you have no idea how much support he gets. And that's the thing, because people like us have now stopped. You know, we watched them for the first few months. People mocked them for the first few months, and all those people started to back away, because they got bored and they moved on to the next thing. Yeah. The thing is, all the people who are pro what he's saying
are still being heard,
commenting under his stuff, because his stuff pops up. His brother pays for stuff, and he pays for stuff for ads to pop up on your Facebook, and they've been popping up in mine a lot. And they probably pop up in mine a lot because I do watch them, because I'm curious to see what
just to see what's going on, like.
And yeah, I look at the comments underneath, and everybody is telling him he's fucking the man. Like, you know, it's like, that's it. Stand up for your rights. Stand up for your beliefs. Oh, the country's going to shit. You're the only real man of the country. You're the only. This family is the best country family in Ireland, and all this shit. And that's what they're being told. Like, if all they're seeing is good, and then you have to remember he's evangelical, so he doesn't really give a fuck what any of us have to say anyway.
No.
He gives a fuck about what his church people are saying, and they are going to treat him like a saint for what he's doing. You know, a martyr, exactly. Yeah. And you know what's funny about it, right? I won't say names, but I was noticing because I saw that some of the people I know or are friends with were liking this stuff and sharing this stuff. Most of those people I know are just like us. They are unmarried and have kids. They also, in some cases, have kids with other people. So I will tell you now, the man you support,
people that have been sharing
the man you support fucking hates you. He sees you as big of a problem as the he, she, they, we, whatever in the classroom. You, to him, are just as bad and you're going to hell too. So keep supporting him and he'll keep fucking looking down on you. No problem. The other people who are dickheads this week, this isn't really a crime thing. This is more of like the dickhead corner of the week. And that is Ticketmaster. Because they fucking fucked Oasis. I wasn't going to go anyway. You know, my attitude was they'll turn up again. I like Oasis, but I don't like Oasis, them that much.
Yeah. There's other concerts I'd like to go before I buy 100%. Oasis tickets.
And my brother is a big Oasis fan. And he was on that morning trying to get tickets. And the tickets were supposed to be €85, something like that.
That's what they were being advertised all week here in Ireland, €85 plus fucking free.
Have a supply and demand kind of clause in their shit, which means they could pump up the prices if there was more people looking for the tickets than, you know, what were there. So the supply and demand will up the cost. My brother was looking at, sent me a screenshot. It was, the cheapest ticket was something like 250 quid. The rest of them were about 400 bones, and you were getting no extras for it. It was just a standing regular ass ticket.
That is bonkers.
450 quid, and that is all solely down to Ticketmaster. And I said it to him, I was like, it's crazy. Oasis is supposed to be the working class band, but at those prices, it'll only be the elite standing in front of them.
But I've seen so much shit up on social media of people calling other people killjoys and why. But like, buying those tickets are fueling PayPal. Like, not PayPal. I keep doing this all day. I've been giving out about PayPal. I should have been Ticketmaster. And but if we just didn't fucking buy them one concert, just back down from it.
The bands need to fucking do it.
You
can't be the people. The bands have to turn around and say, absolutely fucking not. I mean, I would like to think that the Gallaghers would hear this and say, my fuck, they're going for what?
I would think that the Gallaghers would have
you're trying to sell my tickets
give out
for
about
what?
It before now.
You know, again, you're a working class band for working class people, but all that's going to be in front of you are rich snobs with too much money. And the people who do manage it, the real fans who do manage to make it, probably had to go without paying a few bills to do it. So I mean, I know they're trying to remedy the situation by adding dates, but the tickets are already sold. You know,
nobody's getting money back.
No, Ticketmaster ain't going giving anybody their money back. And this is supposed to be a fucking worldwide problem with Ticketmaster.
It is. It happened with Adele's concerts, and then people were going to Adele's concerts and there was a glitch and they couldn't even get in, like, because of these, like, the mobile only fucking tickets and shit like that. So they paid their couple of $100 and they couldn't even get in the night because they're so strict with that as well. So there's no backup proof of these are my tickets.
See, I don't know. Like I said, my brother reckons it's because Ticketmaster has deals with arenas, not with bands. They so if you want to hold your show in this stadium or this hall or this arena, you're dealing with Ticketmaster. So again, you have to be like, the artist would have to tell the arena or the venue, we're not doing it with Ticketmaster, so the venues would then have to cut ties with Ticketmaster and find another way to do it. But it's, again, a bit of a chain. At this point, it's ridiculous. Then, on top of like paying whatever 400 quid for a fucking ticket, you got your hotels who've all jacked their fucking prices up to about 500, 600, 700.
Next year, it's about €400 or €500 for one person occupancy. Like.
So I mean, how the fuck? Like I said, I turned to you today and I said, I was like, I mean, one ticket is a holiday abroad. Like, I don't like Oasis enough to miss a holiday abroad. I'd rather go away for a week.
We could go on an alright cruise, 3 or 4 nights from Dublin and back. Like,
but yeah, that's bullshit, man. So, I mean, somebody needs to take a look at that because, I mean, we got a lot of good punk bands and horror bands. I mean, horror band wise, I know Wednesday 13 is showing up here in the next couple of weeks. So, we got to see how that figures
Try to get there.
But yeah, I don't know. I think it's a dick move. So, Enoch, Burke and Ticketmaster, get the fuck out of Ireland. We're sicky.
The Americans are trying to get rid of Ticketmaster, aren't they?
We'll have to come up with something new. If we can design something and pitch them on it. Tickets from the Horrorverse. I can't just stick for the Horrorverse.
You can't stick Horrorverse into everything. Holy God.
It works, it'll be fine. Alright, I think that's it for this week. So that's our first episode of Horrorverse headlines in the books. And we were going to give you last week's Real Monsters now. Like we said, Real Monsters from now on will be on its own feed. You can find it at It's Alive Real Monsters, I'm pretty sure. But there should be a link. We should have it in the Like Us or We Suggest or Recommended by this podcast. And
we'll figure it out.
We'll have the links up on all the Instagrams and all the other bits and pieces and all that. So you'll find it. So yeah, that's all coming in the next week. Like I said, bear with me. I'm going to start from the newest and work my way back. So you'll get the new shit tomorrow. And as we go along. But, yeah. So enjoy Real Monsters and we will see you next week.
Bye-bye.
Say what you just said there again. There's
Furry cons.
In where? There's one I know.
Yeah, in Philadelphia called Furrydelphia 2024.
Do you think that possibly, and I don't want to king shame anybody. I mean, do what you got to do, but do you think that it's kind of maybe, do you think these people maybe had fucked up childhoods or something? You know, that they're kind of like, or are having trauma in their life, and they're trying to, I don't know, disassociate from themselves to be someone else, something else.
Possibly. I mean, do they look at people that like LARP? You know,
but they claim that it's not, that there's a sexual element to it and a non-sexual element, that it's not solely a sexual thing, but they do weird stuff in it too. But,
I don't get it.
Huh?
I don't get it.
Not neither do I. But it's. I mean,
hey, if it's your thing, it's your thing. I just don't get it.
It is a little strange. But I do kind of find. I mean, look, the anime thing. Again, if you like it, you like it. But it's not really my thing, and I find it a bit. I think it's cool for anybody to watch whatever they want. Mm-hmm. And I know I'm one to talk of my obsession with wrestlers and they're walking around their little fucking underpants all the time, fucking wrestling around and all that. I get that. I get the the hypocrisy in it. But when I see kind of guys my age in their 30s getting super excited about like weird Japanese cartoons, especially the ones that are into the women, whatever, if they're into the storyline and all that, I can see that happening. I mean, I watched Afro Samurai. I fucking love that show. It was brilliant. Metalocalypse is kind of, no, that's not really that stuff. But there is some anime stuff I've come across now and again that was grand. It was cool. But I don't know, man. They get excited about the girls in it. And the girls are usually extremely juvenile looking and, you know, dressed to look like children and all that. And they get really super excited. I got caught off guard it wasn't last Halloween. It was Halloween beforehand. We were going into town. They were having, do you remember that fire show thing?
Oh,
turned out to be absolutely shit because they didn't
was
put it on the stage, did it on a ground level. So if you weren't in like the first 2 rows, you weren't seeing the fucking show, and it was mobbed. So when we parked up first, this guy and girl passed, and your man was wearing what did you call it? A Sailor Moon? He was wearing that. Yeah. And I forgot it was Halloween for a minute. And I was like, what the fuck? They're doing this in the daylight now around here. This is weird, man. I don't mean it, like, because he had a big beard like me and a bald head like me and glasses and tattoos and all that shit. And he's wearing it. I was like, what the actual fuck? And then I realized it was Halloween. I was like, he was just dressing up. But again, weird Japanese schoolgirl wouldn't be my choice for dress-up costume. But then, you know, everybody has their own style. I mean,
I don't like the way it's leaked over into porn. Because I'm afraid that it's going to be like an expected thing for women to cross their eyes and make absolutely ridiculous facial expressions.
But it is.
I don't like. It's creepy. I think that it feels like, as you said, juvenile to me. It's fucking.
I don't want to go so far as to call it pedophilia. It's touching on it. It's borderline. I mean, it mightn't be real, but you're fantasizing about it in some way. You know?
Yeah.
But again, I mean, and I'm not blaming the cartoons. Well, I suppose, yeah, the cartoons have a lot to do with it. But I mean, I'm not saying that being a fan of those cartoons instantly makes you a pedophile.
Oh, no.
Being a fan of the girls in those cartoons and jacking off them makes you a pedophile.
There's plenty of anime. I mean, I constantly tell you that you need to watch Spirited Away. I mean, there's plenty of anime that's good anime that doesn't make me uncomfortable to watch. There is some that makes me feel nasty. Even though it could be completely innocent. And it's just the way women are portrayed in it.
Yeah, it is very kind of. They're always very timid until it's time to get very sexual, and then their boobs are hanging out.
And there's all these blushy. Oh, fuck off! No.
Oh, God. What I don't understand is why they have to be watching cartoons. There's real women all over the internet.
I just don't understand how people are finding this shit attractive when that scene in Alexander where there's like Rosaria Dawson and Colin Farrell literally roaring at each other like tigers like on the fucking bed, and it's just raw like fucking passion, and then there's like these people acting like cartoons. I know different strokes, but I think if you're going to act like something, acting like two tigers.
Like you see kind of double standards there. Like, I mean, when fucking Poor Things came out, all everybody could talk about was the sex scenes. When fucking Saltburn came out, all people could talk about was the sex stuff. I went into Saltburn.
It was a really good fucking movie,
yes, but I went into it
that
expecting a lot.
As in, like, there's way more that happens in that
sexual
movie.
That movie got a lot more going on than just the bathwater come, right? You know, that was a little bit, and that wasn't even half as nasty as it was described to me.
I think that got as big as it was, and no offense to men, but any reaction video that I saw are people going, "Hey, Dad, you look at it was all men," and you know, like online, go, that's disgusting because men are fucking.
And I was sitting there watching it with you, and I was like, "Is that it?
That's it.
That's it." I thought like you see it coming towards them. In my head, the way it was described, I literally pictured like this white blob fucking floating along the water, and him kind of like, just putting his mouth into the water and waiting for it to like land in there like a docking bay kind of thing.
It's just yucky water, but what catches is the slurp. I'll maintain that. The disgusting part of that is the slurp. It's not the fact that it's like that didn't enter into my head. I knew what was in the water, but the slurp is what got to me.
Just as kind of about it if there was no cum in the water. If the guy had just washed himself and gotten out and then he went, that would have made me sick.
Okay, now that I've just thought of that's somebody's dirty bathwater with their feet and all.
The cum is a hat and a hat, really, to be honest with you. You know, it's already a gross scene, like, you know. But
it's not even that. Like, there's way more that goes on. There's the whole period thing as well. Like, I mean,
yeah. Do they call him a vampire at some point in that movie because of that? I could swear a character called him that because he went, I don't know.
Oh, I don't know. It's a good movie. Yeah.
But I mean, like, that's the point. My point is, like, the people making a big deal out of like these movies for their sex scenes. And on the other hand, you have like these kind of over the top animes that are kind of just ignored because, you know, it's just the basement dwellers that are watching that. Don't worry about it, like, you know. But it's the basement dwellers you need to be watching, Amy. But basically, people in their mom's basement watching anime, you know?
Sorry.
I don't know. I don't mean to be shitty, but to be kind of fucking, again, shaming people for it. It's just like, especially when I worked in a creche that time, and you see like full-grown dads coming to the door in anime t-shirts and stuff, and it's just like, we wouldn't have much to talk about. But
I could hold a very, very general conversation, but I couldn't be like...
And furries are worse again, because it's just... There's nothing wrong with them. It just seems, for me, it's just a bit too much.
What gets to me is all this, like, the way their mouth changes and they're talking through this side of their face. Next thing their eyebrows goes, next thing they're talking through this side of their face, and it's just so fucking like...
I've never seen furries like that, where you can see their face. I thought they were the whole costume.
Oh, no, you see, there's like this... I think that's kind of sexual, but then there's like this, like, furries, he's called himself, he, like, identifies as, like, a kitten when he goes to these furry cons, like. And like he wears like these ears, but he was doing his face and all that, but he had like this kind of, when I said furry Sailor Moon costume, it was more kind of like velvety kind of Sailor Moon costume, like that kind of way. But he
so it's kind of like these people who get dressed up as dogs full time. Like, see the guy that got the super realistic dog costume, mate.
Yeah.
Like to the point where people were like patting him on the fucking street and stuff like that.
But I mean, when I went there to Enoch in Dublin, there was a guy there, and he had proper dog, as in like it was literally like a latex. That's common, like realistic.
Well, like God in Preadtor.
Exactly like God in Preadtor, except not white. He was more kind of.
He was a Dalmatian in
this was very kind of dark color.
It's just a bit again, I would have to say that you're like really, really, really trying to avoid something in your own life. You know, to take up being a dog for a day. Even though Amy did ask me this week, would you like to be a dog for a day when she was watching the dogs? No, I can understand that. You're watching the dog just lay about there and get fucking fed shit all fucking day.
Just for 24 hours. I don't want any longer than 24 hours, but if you're going to lay me off on the couch and tuck me into bed at night.
All he does is play, lick his balls and lie down all day.
I'm not going to go around licking my balls. That's where I draw the line.
I wonder, has anyone ever made a Jeff the Talking Mongoose furry costume?
I would like to see that. I think you'd be a bit terrified.
I don't know why, but I find Jeff pretty fucking terrifying as it is. I know it's irrational because he doesn't actually do anything scary, really.
Oh.
But the thing is, it just reminds me of Rimini Riddle again. We keep coming back to this fucking Rimini Riddle. And again, I was validated a little bit lately because it's been all over the fucking Lad Bible and stuff like that around the internet.
Yeah.
So it is on the Lost Footage Archive or something like that. Little bits of it.
Oh, the Internet Archive. Yeah.
No, this is Lost Media.
Oh, I
is what
knew
it's
something
called.
else. I thought it was a different one.
So kind of it's there in writing. About what might have been in this Lost Media. I assume like the Doctor Who episodes that have been destroyed or lost, the early ones and stuff like that would have been up in this database,
Yeah.
But in Rimini Riddle you had like an evil plushie toy that was a purple otter, and he was one nasty, scary little fucker. When he talked, it was very... Oh, it was creepy. Like, that whole show was just so fucking creepy. But then when I think of Jeff the Talking Mongoose, that's who I used to think of. And I used to think of his voice when I'd hear people talking about him, like, what he was saying. Especially, like, again, I've always said I love listening to Aimee's Mini Monsters, Aimee's episodes. And I literally go, I use them to go to sleep some nights. They're so relaxing. Like, but then there was one night I was listening, and I can listen to you talk about anything. And next thing the Jeff the Talking Mongoose came on, and I started to feel creeped out.
How do you feel about Doctor Who, though? How do you feel about Doctor Who and all the animals when he can hear all the animals talking to him? Do you find that creepy? Not Doctor Who, Dr. Dolittle.
Oh, no, because that's so fucking... The only Dr. Dolittle I've ever seen is Eddie Murphy's, and that wasn't exactly hyper-realistic.
Oh, you've never seen the old one. That's really good. Oh, we should watch that after we watch The Time Machine and The Ones Run. Now we've made it a 3-parter that night.
But I do remember in Rick and Morty when the squirrels realise that Morty can hear him and they're starting to call him and chase him. That made me feel a bit panicky too, and I don't know why. And that's only a cartoon. I mean, I love that cartoon. But
see, that's why we're different. I love like, that.
Oh, fuck me. That's so fucking... Just the thought of him talk. And I don't know, Jeff Talking Mongoose, the way they described him, like talking through the walls and all that stuff and running around the walls. It was just a bit...
Do you not think it'd be kind of cool to have that power, like Snow White and Shrek? Do you know, as in somebody fucks with you, next thing you just fling your arms out and be like, you're in league with these birds and they all just like land on your arm and you're like, fuck you guys. Here come the squirrels.
Was Jeff that fast? And then Jeff got nasty a few times too. And he'd make it sound like there was babies crying in the fucking walls and stuff like that. That's just a bit...
Or a ferret, dog, baby.
It's a bit poltergeisty for me, to be honest. Just kind of fucked up. I know. Do you think it was real? What's your opinion on Jeff the Talking Mongoose?
I think the mongoose might have been real, but I mean, like, I've seen cats on YouTube bark. I've heard dogs say I love you on YouTube. Do you know what I mean? Like,
but this isn't like, one or two words. This is full-blown conversations with a fucking... They believed it was a spirit, didn't they? They didn't think it was a genuine fucking talking mongoose.
Well, what they said was that he was an extra clever mongoose and an earthbound spirit or a ghost in the form of a mongoose. And apparently he once said, I am a freak, I have hands and I have feet. If you saw me, you'd faint, you'd be petrified, mummified, turned into stone or a pillar of salt. But apparently he was really helpful. Like, he'd guard the house and he'd let them know if there was any guests or any unfamiliar dogs. If they forgot to put out the fire at night, the stove, he'd come down.
My dog lets me know if there's any unfamiliar dogs in the area.
But they're fucking ghost mongoose did. He'd go down, like, he'd put out the stove, he'd wake people up when they overslept, he'd give them something really handy. Whenever there's mice...
That's a common enough ghost fucking trait. There was another ghost. Well, we were only talking about it lately. Remember, was some haunted building in New York, I think. But remember, the girl was being woken up by the ghost every morning. And it was the case. Remember, it was a court case. It was about the having to disclose whether there was a ghost in the house.
Oh, yeah.
And the ghost used to wake up the daughter in the house every morning for school so she wouldn't be late. He'd like tip the bed or some shit like that. And then or start banging the walls. And in the morning, she was on midterm. She announced before going to bed that she didn't have to get up the next morning. There was no banging and no waking her up.
See, I wonder if ghosts, like spirits like that, if they are affected by energy and emotional energy, are they like, oh my God, this house is going to be filled with anxiety if she wakes up late, anxiety and rush, and it's going to be shit, and it's going to
But
be...
they feed off of that in a good way, don't they?
In a good way.
Energy,
but like if it's a negative, because anxiety to me would be a negative kind of... Yeah, if it's negative, would it affect them in a negative way? Like if it's like, you know, we're just going to have a nice morning and she'll get up.
Yeah, we're just chilled out ghosts. We're not here for any aggro. Let's just fucking... We'll all have a nice easy morning and get this girl out to school.
Yeah.
But they love blaming fucking ventriloquism for shit in England. I know it's the Isle of Man, but let's face it, they're pretty close to England.
How many little girls though? Because there's a young girl involved in this, isn't there? Isn't there like
Enfield as well. They tried to say that she was doing ventriloquism, but that was kind of disproven a few times. They were saying that she was using false vocal cords. Is that what they call them? False vocal cords or something like that in the back of her throat? They were the ones that you can't often use. I
wonder, is it the same thing? Remember I was saying to you about the circular breathing? Is it the same thing as like...
Don't know, but they were saying like the 10 minutes of doing this should leave you fucking without not being able to talk for a few days. Like, that it would hurt your throat so much to do this, but she was doing it fluently for hours at a time. Like, so
trying to think, how do you unlock these second vocal cords?
Well, that's the other thing.
Or is it like the Tibetan monks that like hold cords?
And that's the big thing, is like these little girls are being accused of ventriloquism, and it's like, well, it would take years to master what these girls have done.
It's and the Girl Scout secret agenda.
Nobody's ever seen these people do ventriloquism before. So I mean, especially in the case of Enfield, like. She didn't seem like one to be able to sit down and learn how to do a thing like that at that age. You know, she was very kind of... She seemed kind of over... Obviously, they said like she had actually faked a few of them for attention, but she was craving attention as well at that same time, and they say that could bring on like, you know, poltergeist as well.
Maybe she wanted to prolong the attention because it's too...
But that was it. Her mentality was if things stopped, the main guy would leave. Morris fucking... Fairchild, I think so. But she saw him as a father figure, and he was really nice to her, and he seemed like a fucking lovely man. But
what creeps me out though is the family. I can't remember, his sister or whatever, saying that when they go back, you know, like lights come out, and that
she said she only went back once.
I don't like it.
And she said the light went back.
My spine literally just went cold when I said that. Imagine go back to nobody in there, and we're like, oh, it's been this long. Oh, fuck off!
I remember who you are.
Serious? Yeah, no.
Well, that's why she won't go back there again. So I think the main one has been back there once or twice. All right. I thought
even my legs are cold now. So I get all goosebumps.
Yeah, that was literally one big, I fucking still know who you are and I see you. And if you think
what
of the
happens in the next
well,
life? Can he like easily access her? Like, so I mean, like if there's that spirit and there's this spirit, or is it maybe, I don't know, that's kind of creepy.
But yeah, that's how I feel about this fucking mongoose. I think it is creepy as fuck. They have some pictures,
I would like
shitty
one.
Pictures.
Yeah.
They're blurry pictures. They're crap. You don't really see anything, and people claim that it's dog. And they got hair that they had tested, and they claimed that was definitely a dog.
Oh, it was their sheepdog, and there was footprints. That was their sheepdog as well.
No, again, I can see, like we were talking about in the last episode, we were talking about the witch trials, and I was saying that I thought that the witch trials were a case of gossiping gone mad because they just didn't have anything else to do. The Isle of Man in the 1930s, there probably wasn't a whole pile to do. You know, so you'd have to assume this might be the same thing, like maybe a family joke that just got out of fucking hand. You know, maybe they figured out, because apparently there was cavities in the wall, like, you know, where you could move around, something could move around there, and there was an echo where you could talk at one point of the house, and it would stretch to the other side of the house, and it would sound like someone was talking to you in that room. Maybe if they figured that out, they started fucking with each other, and it just kind of became a thing, and they started fucking with other people, and it just kind of became a thing to, we cannot fucking admit to this anymore. We just got to go with it now, we're in too deep. You know?
It's quite like actually I'm going to do this for next week. It came out, it was a true story, but it was a movie when we were younger about the fairies. Do you know the pictures that were taken of the fairies? The two girls involved.
Yeah.
But like they stuck to it. I think it was a thing of, oh shit, we better stick to. I mean, Houdini and all was involved in that. Like, and they were like,
did they prove it wrong in the end?
One of them confessed that they made them all up, and then another one said, well, no, these ones are real. These ones we had to fake when we're asked to reproduce them.
But see, this is the thing. This is like a thing you see in alien fucking stuff all the time. Like the alien autopsy, that's what they claimed as well when they were called out, and they were like, this looks fake. And it was like, okay, this is a fake video, but it's based on real footage that we had that got destroyed, so we had to remake it to show you. And it's like,
but at least this girl was able to say she was able to like, she had these physical real ones, the ones that she was saying, no, these ones are real, but these ones, there was so much pressure on us that we had to like fake these ones, but these original ones are real.
Yeah, but how do you fucking, like, that's, you know.
But that's the thing, I mean,
if I was going to lie to someone about something like that, that's exactly what I would say too. It would be like, yeah, these ones are, because by saying these ones are fake, but these ones are real, it's like, what if they're admitting to that one being fake, then they can't be lying about the other ones? It's like, well, no, they can be, they're just fucking with your head, you know. The one thing I would say that makes me some bit of a believer with this is the fact that they never made a penny out of it.
But neither did those two girls.
Not true. They had an Apple fucking documentary come out this fucking year. They had books, they had documentaries,
They're
they had
both
interviews.
dead now.
What?
Both those girls are dead. Both the girls from...
Enfield.
Oh no, sorry, I'm on about the girls with the fairies.
Right. But I would assume they're getting paid for interviews and stuff like that. In this case, it's the 1930s. They're not getting they're only getting a couple of newspapers out to them.
Yeah,
you know?
those girls are 1910, 1920.
Oh, yeah, well, yeah. But again...
I think with those pictures compared to other things, I mean, like, you don't really want, like you don't really want to believe that there was a talking mongoose or talking animals, but these pictures, like, they were like actually fucking beautiful. Like, who wouldn't want to believe in fairies? Everybody wanted to believe, you know. I mean,
look, the thing I would say
it's
with
so hard
Jeff,
to call on all of them because they're so long ago.
the thing I would say with Jeff is, right, because this is something I could see happening. It's just something I could see my own fucking dad doing, and making a joke with us. That guy gets out of control, and it's just like, oh, we'll keep fucking with people.
What?
But the mentality of, if we take money for it, then we're doing something wrong. If we're not taking money for it, well, if you catch us out, we were only taking the piss. It's not a big deal.
I just had visions of your dad having to release a bear in Castle Island.
Oh, the Castle Island bear. Fucking hell. Just go, it'll be fine. 20 people are dead this week. Mauled by a black bear. They're not indigenous to the country, and no one is quite sure how he got to Castle Island.
Next thing the Sullivans just move.
Yeah, I don't, I think for me it has to be a fucking joke gone too far.
Yeah.
Boy, I mean, look, they stuck to their story. I mean, even your man went to death fucking with that story. The daughter fucking never changed her story. I mean, she died in 2005, so all the way up to 2005 she was like, nope, this is a true story, this is real. Some of the paranormal researchers said yes, some said, oh, like, oh, paranormal.
Nandor Fodor saw nothing though.
But yet he's the one that has the movie.
Yeah, but he saw
Simon Pegg's movie
nothing.
is about him, Nandor Fodor
he's in it.
and Jeff, isn't it?
He believed that that it was a psychological kind of thing. It was based on a split off of Jim Irving's personality.
Oh, he thought the dad was a little crazy and kind of...
Yeah.
Oh, sort of like fucking, almost like the New York Ripper, Peter Bunch, where he was the duck when he was killing people, but he was Peter when yeah, I can see that.
Yeah.
That's unsettling. That's probably a little
He
more...
wasn't killing anybody though. He was waking people up for school. He was doing good shit. Oh my God.
Yeah, but if he truly
maybe it was a
believed
dad joke gone too far.
Yeah.
Jeff the Talking Mongoose says, but like the way it'll be on about wee willy winky to the lads if they don't go to bed.
Especially with the wall cavity thing, if he can do that from his own fucking room to the next to a room across the house, like, you know, it's like, well, it's a bit of a joke. Dad, was that you? No, that was Jeff the Talking Mongoose. I can hear my dad do this to me.
Yeah.
Do you know, 100%? That was Jeff the Talking Mongoose. And this would go on and on and on for fucking months. But again, we're talking about a time where they don't have as much media to consume. So this could just be a extended joke. It's just like, again, like I said, they didn't take money for it. I didn't take money, so I didn't do anything really wrong. Do you know?
But you know yourself as well, when you use those kind of excuses on kids, it takes a long time before you can actually train them out of it. Like, they could be 10, you're like, Jeff the Talking Mongoose says you have to get out of bed. 17, Jeff the Talking Mongoose says you got to get out of bed.
I'm still not 100% sure if you're an alien or not.
I know.
I keep telling them you are. With the pink hair fucking helps, like. What?
He doesn't like. I think he.
Did she dye her hair pink? No. It used to be dyed brown. That's her natural colour.
I have to dye.
Why does mommy wear contacts? To hide her alien eyes.
My fiance said it to me the other night. He was like, "Mommy's half alien. That means
Look
you're
at
an
her.
alien."
She's
baby.
fucking putting eyelashes on, Riley. What human do you know that has to put their eyelashes on in the morning? Stop it, Dad.
I'm going to start wearing gloves like in The Witches and really fuck with him. You'll never see me without gloves again.
But I think that joke got too far. Sounds like Jeff. Okay, this was a rewind. We'd done this one ages ago.
But we never got an opportunity to discuss
it just
it.
wasn't. We weren't doing it. We weren't doing Real Monsters this way. We were trying to do a proper true crime, one subject a fucking week, and I was regurgitating other people's fucking words because all I did was listen to other people and then be like, yeah, that sounds about right.
Do you know what, though? Just to go back to it again for 2 seconds, I will say, looking at the foot tracks and the teeth marks from Jeff, right down at the bottom of the Wikipedia page in their gallery. Mm-hmm. One of them, I mean, like, it looks like a paw print, a dog paw print, right? But when you look at it, its toes are down really far, aren't they?
There is a reason for this, isn't there?
Oh, because you walk like this, isn't it?
It was something to do with another animal, wasn't it? It was
the sheepdog there right beside it. But that's what I was saying.
It was something to do with the way they walked in the cold or something, or in the mud or something like that. It was something about there, you know, that little finger they had, and I'm not 100% sure about it, but something about the placement of that because of the way they were walking, or the hill they were walking on, or something like that, and that's the reason for that.
Okay.
It was explained.
Okay.
They did find an explanation for it.
I thought that was Bigfoot. I'm getting confused.
And all the hair that was put forward from the dog as well, and then they just claimed that it was ventriloquism and these wall cavities. There, like I said, there's 1 or 2 pictures, but the pictures are extremely blurry. You can't really make anything out from it.
What if what they thought was a mongoose imitating a dog was just actually their dog?
Because I think they might have seen them around the same time, and it was talking. It wasn't like an imitation. It wasn't like what you're talking about. This isn't like the cat that went Long Johnson. This is someone like talking to you the way I'm talking to you.
No,
right
I
now.
know, but it did imitate the dog. So I know what you're saying. Like, but I mean, like, could it be? I mean, like, that could be down to ventriloquism. That could be down to his split personality. But then if they're hearing like dog-like sounds as well, like if that's explained away by the split personality, is it just their fucking dog?
I wonder is it the case as well.
Does a ferret sound like a mongoose? Like,
if they're claiming that, like, you know, the daughter and the father both heard it, is it a thing that they were doing it back and forward to each other as a joke? Because, you know, the way they're saying the baby crying. Yeah. And you think, like, that's creepy, but we have often walked through this house and Riley's been fake crying, and it's just like, what the fuck, are you okay? And you're like, oh yeah, I'm fine. It's like, I'm gonna fucking kill you. Shut the fuck. If you do that again, I'm gonna fucking give you a reason to fucking cry.
Yeah. It's very convincing, like.
So you can see how a little girl could probably pull off the fucking baby cry through the fucking house, like, you know. I don't know, it's a weird one, but the people, again, like, similar to Amityville, people who moved in there afterwards never, ever, ever, ever heard from Jeff or anything spooky. So it was kind of, you know, just that one family. Once they were gone, Jeff was gone. And I would like to go to the Isle of Man. I'd like to go to that house.
Oh, I'd like to go to the Isle of Man. Yeah, I'd love to see it.
Well, specifically to see Jeff's farm, I'd like to walk around that area.
It's
and
supposed to be a nice area, though.
I'd like, as much as it creeps me out, I would like to like camp in that area to see if there was anything about it, or just for, I mean, like you do with the ghost hunting.
If you saw a mongoose, would you shit your pants?
I cannot tell you how I would react if a mongoose came up and started speaking to me.
No, I just mean because it's one thing if it was speaking to you, but if we're camping in that area and one was like just sitting watching our tent, and because we'd be in that area, would you be like, oh shit? It
would depend on how it was watching me. Do you know how I was saying, like in Rick and Morty? And he's like got that little fucking gadget off of Rick so he could hear what the animals were saying, like Dr. Dolittle style. And he's walking on the street. Next thing he hears, the fucking squirrels are conspiring to take over mankind or something. And one of them notices that he's looking at him. And he's like, that kid's been looking at us a long time. And then they start looking at him. If it was like that, where I was like sitting there, if we were sitting there, if there was like one mongoose that was just sitting there and staring at us in our direction for like over a fucking period of 15, 20 minutes, not moving, then I'd be like, okay, that's weird. And, you know, if we started moving towards it, then it started getting cagey like an animal would to run. Like, I'd be like, this is fucking weird. Like, why is it staring at us? Like, you know, I will get a bit weird like that. But again, I'm not afraid of mongoose in general or any of those kind of things. Because the one I didn't like as a kid, it was a fucking plushy fucking purple fucking toy otter, you know, as a puppet. It was supposed to be a teddy bear to come into life, like, you know, plushie coming to life. And it was his tone of voice that was really creepy. If I can find it for you, I'll play it for you after. It is creepy. So it would depend then how Jeff spoke when he came up to me. If Jeff had a creepy, sneaky little voice, then I'd be like, yeah, we need to get the fuck out of here.
What if he had like a New York mafia accent on him? I think it'd be class.
Oh, yeah, we'd be drinking all night and just chilling. See, that's the thing. Like, if he came up all cool and relaxing, you'd be like, that's just Jeff the Talking Mongoose. This is awesome. It's real. Let's have a chat. But if he came up and he's all fucking sneaky and creepy and stuff, I'm packing up and I'm leaving. I'm hoping the fuck he doesn't follow me home. But Jeff the Talking Mongoose. We also did another rewind this week, and that was the Shadow People. We won't spend too long on the Shadow People. There's not a whole time to talk about the Shadow People.
I think the Hat Man is the scariest.
I don't know. I think, see, the thing about it is we've seen a lot of Shadow People on Paranormal Cotton Camera, and I've said to you, it's probably the easiest one to fake, but it's terrifying looking. And the thing that's really creepy about it is
they peek.
Essentially, it's the thing you think you see in the corner of your eye, and by the time you look to see is it there, it's already gone.
But that's exactly.
Unless there's a camera on it.
That's exactly what I see. I'm telling you now, that's exactly what it is. I 100% believe that I saw a shadow person, but that's exactly what it fucking is. It's that thing out of the corner of my eye. Oh, yeah, I probably didn't see it. And then somebody else is like, did you see that? I was like, holy shit, I did see that thing out of the corner.
Which always creeps me out. I hate it, man. I mean, like, even the way our coach is fucking sitting, when you're away and I'm here on my own and I'm lying on the couch watching a movie, it takes me a while before I will lie with my back to that door, the door of that couch, or the door in the sitting room.
I used to be like that when you were working nights, right? When you used to work nights. But then there was one night Riley came in, and the other way there's a gap in between our wall and the sofa. And he was a bit overtired, and he was like, I keep seeing things, Mom. I'm like, what? And he was like, if I'm looking weird over your shoulder right now, it's because it's behind you. And my back is like literally to that gap. And I'm like, Riley, and I'm not looking behind because once you acknowledge that it's there, you're fucked. So I kept my back to the wall. And I was like, Riley, I need you to be honest with me. Are you seeing something behind my back? Because I was not. The fuck was I looking behind me? And I was taking him in the corner.
When I was on night shift.
No, that was the worst thing. But like genuinely, I had to get him to like own up to it because I wasn't looking behind me. He was that convincing. Like he was like, okay, maybe I'm just a bit tired. Yeah, it was so bad.
But yeah, they creep me out. Right? The videos of them creep me out the most. And it is the fact that I know that if it was a real life thing, I wouldn't see it fast enough to be sure if I saw it. The video, it's clear as day. You can see them. And yeah, sometimes you can be like, well, that could just be someone. And you know those suits you see, those people, the green screen suits they wear where they're all green. Yeah. Essentially like a black overall. Fucking, you could do it very easily to fake it. But it's scary enough that if it's real, it's terrifying because they're so solid. They're so fucking... For something that has no features, it is very easy to fucking see all the distinctive parts of it, and it's...
Well, you see, that's what I would say is where, again, going back to the time when I'm convinced that I saw one, it was like it moved so fast, and I moved so fast while it was moving so fast, but still at the same time, I can tell you that it was solid black, exactly like you said, no features, but it was almost like, do you know the way like when you're young and you draw like not a stick man, you've kind of gone up a grade from a stick man, you have like the round head, but you have your defined shoulders and all that, you can see that it's like some outline of a fucking human. Huh?
Like the toilet guy. The men's and women's toilet symbol.
Yeah, that's exactly what it was. Yeah. Well, I don't know. I can't tell you what the legs were like, but definitely like
what a shadow person
is. This much up, like it was exactly like that. Yeah.
But, yeah, I don't know. They just seem to be another kind of ghost, don't they? I mean, there's all this shit about it. There's Native American fucking links to it. There's other links to it and all that kind of stuff.
I think a really interesting one is the Hat Man, and he's associated with sleep paralysis, but also the abuse of antihistamine medicine, diphenhydramine, or Benadryl. So, like, you use that, you're seeing the Hat Man.
But I know, that there is truth to that.
Yeah.
Because I used to get my worst sleep paralysis when I was on really strong painkillers after my accident. So I was taking away. I haven't had sleep. When was the last time I had sleep paralysis? Like, it's been years at this point because I serious sleep paralysis, the one that I can remember. You said that I've woken up in panic every now and again, but if I can't remember it, it's not sleep paralysis.
Not the morning of my birthday. Last weekend, I thought I was going to have to be. You come back out of it. You're not.
But that's just might be a regular nightmare.
Oh.
I know when it's sleep paralysis because I am aware of what's going on and I can't move. You know? But it's funny because, right, if you said it to me before, I'd never say that the shadow thing in my sleep paralysis nightmares had a hat. But Hat Man does distinguish, does kind of come to mind when you say it, like, you know, like that makes sense. Even though I can't ever remember seeing a hat. All I ever remember seeing is black coming at me. It's not even like a physical thing. Sometimes it is literally just darkness coming up the stairs towards the room. You know, like a void of light. There is nothing actually there. I can never actually see the thing. I can just feel it coming. It very rarely gets as far as the bedroom with me. I rarely see this thing. I just know it's in the house and it's on its way. The closest I've ever come to seeing it was when I was going to super kick it when I thought I was out in the hallway at the top of the stairs and next thing my legs went from under me. But that was already the dream. I didn't realise it. I was in bed. I was lying there. I felt the sleep paralysis come on because I could feel it sometimes, but sometimes I'd be too far gone into the sleep to stop it.
Yeah.
And it was like in the dream, I got out of bed, went to the top of the stairs, and I was like, that's it. I have the bastard this time. This is a sleep paralysis dream, but he didn't paralyze me fast enough. And I was standing at the top of the stairs. I was like, come on up. I am going to fucking super kick you back down that stairs. And as soon as I thought the word super kick, my knees buckled and I hit the floor and I was paralyzed. And then I could see the blackness like kind of taking over the stairs, like swallowing the stairs coming up. At that point, I think I might have seen eyes in the like white eyes in the fucking shadow, but I couldn't really tell. Like it's hard to tell. It's a dream, like, you know.
It has to be linked to, because I remember seeing this on side effects of tablets that I've taken before, and it always made me laugh a tiny bit. But it must be like feeling of dread or feeling of terror are side effects that I've seen on tablets, like maybe like, you know, like the 1 in 1,000 section. It's probably it. I've never thought of it, and every time I see it I'm like, feeling of dread.
I hear people say as well, like that they have their some people get it so intensely that the thing's actually sitting on top of their chest.
On top of their chest.
Never got that close
I know someone that described it like that, but the way she describes it is that it's an old woman, and I have multiple friends that describe it as an old woman.
First time it ever happened to me, it was Michael Myers.
Fuck off. I'd have peed my pants.
Yeah, first time it ever happened to me. I can remember the first time it ever happened to me. I was lying in bed. We were watching fucking Family Guy. My brother was in the bunk under me. We were watching Family Guy. The fucked up thing about it was I was half asleep. So the Family Guy show continued as if I was in reality. So when I woke up out of the dream, where Family Guy was in my dream, it was in reality. Like, so that was, I was still awake enough that the TV was still a part of my dream, but it was reality. My reality and my dream were mixing into. I was essentially hallucinating the dream over reality because I wasn't asleep yet. Yeah. And then I knew Michael Myers was at the front door. And I knew he was walking up. So we were in the bedroom downstairs. So I knew he was walking down the hall. And I had to, but I was stuck at this point. And I was still watching Family Guy and I was trying to get out of it. And then when I did snap out of it, Family Guy was still there. And the same point I was watching it in my dream, but he was gone. And I was just like,
creepy.
Fuck, that was intense. So, but that was my first encounter. And after that, it was always, it was in the house. Yeah. It was on its way towards the bedroom, but it never got to me because I was always fighting hard enough to get out of it. It wasn't until years later that, like, you know, I would push the limits because I knew what I was in. At that point, it was an adrenaline rush for me. Yeah. I knew it was a dream. I knew it couldn't hurt me. Because it is vivid. You're very aware of where you are. Yeah. You know you're in a dream at that point. You just can't really do anything about it. I think actually you might have been kind of part of the reason I feel so comfortable kind of getting in there and taking it on nowadays as well. Because I will say right here, right now, if you got Freddy Krueger after you, Amy is the girl. She's not going to be like Johnny Depp falling asleep on you while you're in there trying to battle Freddy. She is fucking there ready to pull you out. And anytime, the thing never gets close to me because I start to try and contact you. Like inside the dream, my thought would be, okay, I can't move. I know Amy's lying next to me. I can see her lying next to me. I know where you are. Like I'm trying to make moves to touch you, to wake you, but I just start trying to make noise. But the problem is in the dream, my jaw is in fucking one place. I can't move it. So I'm trying.
That's what it sounds like as well.
So I'm like trying to make noise through my teeth to try and get her attention. And in the dream, all I'm saying is Amy, 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 and it gets more panic because the closer this thing gets to you. You do fill up, even though you're aware that you're in the dream and you're aware of what you start to fill with fucking dread, like, and fear. It gets more fucking panicky then to try and wake you before it gets closer. So it's like this ticking time, this like clock on you. And I know for you it probably sounds terrifying, or like I'm absolutely terrified. And then she'd wake me up and I'd be like, whew, that was pretty cool. I'm going to go to sleep again and I might get back into it.
You sound that panicky, you'd have been, it's like, I have to bring you out of it.
Oh, yeah, well, I expect you. That's me trying to call you because I want to get out of it. That's why I'm so comfortable in there. You sound
fucking terrified. But it's like, I can understand how it could be interpreted as Amy, but that's not the sound coming out of you.
But in my dream, that's what's happening.
The whole
everything around me again is visible to me.
But it's like exactly what you were saying. What I can hear is the fact that you're not able to move your jaw. Yeah.
I can't move anything.
It sounds like you can't even move your tongue.
So it's me. That's essentially what I'm dreaming at the time. But that's the hat man coming for you. He's never gotten to me. I actually only just realised. And I think it might be why I found him kind of so cool and kind of a bit kind of spooky as well as wrestling, WB, the White Six, Uncle Howdy. The way he is pretty much, without seeing what was in the shadows, what I expected to be in the shadows.
Are you seeing the Babadook in the shadows?
Something similar to that, yeah. Which is kind of very similar to Uncle Howdy, the hat and the kind of weird face and shit like that in the hair. So when I saw him, it was like, there's something about him that's kind of unsettling. I like it, but it's something and that, I think I made that connection on it. It was like, that's kind of what I expected the shadow guy to be. When I couldn't see him coming up the stairs, that's what I thought was coming up the stairs. You never heard it coming. You just could feel it coming.
That's fucking creepy.
Deep inside you. The more scared you got, the closer it was to you.
See, I don't like that. I have only ever had one experience ever close to that. It's like what you were saying about Family Guy. And I was in my student accommodation in college. And, it was like a one bedroom, a single bedroom, So I had my laptop and I was watching. I wasn't even watching a horror because I didn't watch horrors on my own. I still don't watch horrors on my own. I watch them with you. But I can't even remember what I was watching. But I put the laptop down on the ground and I fell asleep with the lights on. But next thing, I was in my bed. And the laptop was down in the same position on the floor and the lights were on. And next thing, it wasn't even a movie that kind of particularly terrified me or anything. It was a bit creepy, but it never terrified me. And next thing was fucking Samara fucking from The Grudge. And it was, if not from The Grudge, from The Ring. And it's crawling through the laptop screen. And I'm there in bed, and I don't know what prompted me to wake up. Oh, sorry. But I was like sitting like up in my bed the way I had fallen asleep and the laptop was on the ground. But I've never had anything like that since.
Well, what they say in some cases when it's not like medication related, it's a case of, and it can happen to anybody, it doesn't have to be from taking medications. But what happens is it's your body goes to sleep before your brain does, a couple of seconds before your brain does.
Same way to get the jerking thing.
Your eyes are still seeing everything. You can see the outside world, but you're hallucinating essentially over. The dream is starting to
So are you kind of asleep with your eyes open until they close kind of thing?
Essentially, yeah, kind of, yeah. So it's kind of, like I said, the two worlds kind of melt into each other because your brain is
it's like active. Lucid dreaming, fuck off.
Yeah, your brain is active. But your body isn't. So your brain's on its way to sleep too. So the dreams start to kind of kick in, and it's a weird one. It's
so
really,
I know that your muscles will jerk you awake. The way you get that kind of twitch, that is your body falling asleep too fast, and your brain telling it to wake up a tiny bit. You're literally falling asleep. So I wonder, is that the self-defense mechanism to stop you from having this kind of hallucination?
I used to get an extremely loud buzzing in my ears.
Yeah, I remember you saying that to me.
So I'd know, but sometimes again the buzzing would start too late and I'd be already too far gone. So my last thought to be, here we go. I was like, I know it's coming. But yeah, sometimes it'd be really intense like that. Where there was times there when I was taking a lot of painkillers for my foot and stuff like that. And that was a constant battle. It was I'd close my eyes, I'd hear the buzzing start, I'd have to open my eyes and sit up and wake myself up a bit and then lie down again and the buzzing would start. Because I just wanted, at that point, it was it was happening so often, I just needed a normal night's sleep. So next thing it would start again and I just fucking gotta get out of it. And it was just trying to get to sleep. The goal was I had to go to sleep before that buzzing started. So then there was a rush for me to try and sleep before I heard the zzz start in my ear, because once I heard that was it.
That was it, no coming out of it.
No, that was me on my way into a fucking fucking paralysis dream, which makes it even more creepier when I describe it all. To be honest with you, it does sound like something paranormal and strange, but really it is. I mean, I don't take painkillers, even if I'd have to really, really badly need them because I hate the side effects. And because of that, this doesn't happen to me that often anymore. I see every now and again when we get deep into a subject, I'll have dreams about that subject. And that's happening to me a lot more lately. That I am getting like, whatever we're covering, I end up fucking somewhere in the middle of in a dream at some point. And some of them are a bit intense. But I mean, I do wake up and it's like fucking a bit panicky. But it's not sleep paralysis panicky because I wake up out of them. Just something shitty happens in the dream and I wake up, but I could be moaning in my sleep because of that. I mean, the more last time you thought that I was freaking out in my sleep, I was having the time of my fucking life. I was in Planet of the Apes and I was one of the apes. You
were clung to both sides of the mattress.
They were two trees.
Stretched out and your hands were like white knuckled on either side of the mattress.
In my dream,
I understand what you're saying. Yeah, I can see how it was two trees, but I was like, do I wake him and make sure he's still like
and then
alive?
I just finished the Boys comic again, and I mean the last couple of weeks have been nothing but fucking superheroes. I mean, they're very vague, not as vivid as usual, but I knew coming out of them that I had some weird kind of superhero dream.
See, we have very different dreams. My dreams lately, when I do remember them, are that we are spies at our wedding. That's been held in a Viking mead hall.
And it's been happening a lot, has it?
A lot, an awful lot. And I get a bit more every time. I think the last time was that we're up in like a spiraling tower. Like
that used to happen to me with a zombie apocalypse one, and I used to love that dream. That was so much fun because every time it was a little bit more, and it was the same situation, same people involved, and it was just a fucking rush trying to get around there. I fucking enjoy it. I used to be fucking 100% certain that I would love a zombie apocalypse to happen after those dreams. I was like, I can deal with this shit. My dreams taught me I can deal with this shit. But I mean, to me, that's all shadow people. Well, you've said you've seen one, and I mean,
I 100%. I stick by. And then just to defend myself, how often do I say, "Oh my god, that paranormal thing definitely 100% happened"?
They're so common. It is very, very hard to tell. I mean, I'd have to say the most convincing one I saw on Paranormal Caught on Camera at one stage was this guy managed to grab a hold of the shadow person. It stuck its head around the fucking the corner, and this guy was ready and grabbed it, and it started taking on different shapes and kind of pulling him back and forth, and it was strange. It was odd, but again, we live in an age where that's a very, very easy fucking thing to do with an app. So that's where I get more fucked up about it. So I don't know. It's again, I suppose you got to see it to believe it, and that's where you're always going to stand with ghost stuff. You know.
I would say the one that I saw it moved too fast to be human. And that is the one thing that the girl that was with me said as well, that like whatever she said, it moved fast.
I don't know. Again, as much as I go on,
I would
it's
like
an easy
you to
one.
believe me.
No. But this is the thing is like, it's the one that I say is the easiest one to fake, but it's also the scariest one. And because it's so vague, it's the same as the Michael Myers thing that I used to say. Like when I first saw Halloween, I was like, this mask is fucking genius. There's no glitz and glamour. It's not like Freddy's fucked up face. It's not like fucking Bubba's fucking skin mask or the hockey mask. It was so plain, it was so basic, it was terrifying. It was the absence of personality that made it so fucking scary.
I can understand that, and I understand why they're creepy, but when I explained it, when we had PJ over the night and I was explaining it, and he kind of pointed out and he was like, do you have a link to that building? And I was like, holy fucking shit, I have a link to that building. I have a pretty strong link to that building. So he pointed out maybe it was that link, like there was like that person and like that kind of fitting in with the time when the link would have been like that person would have been like, you know, like young enough to have been a kid around the place. Like
your experience is on the pleasanter side of shadow people experiences in my idea, of my thought process of it. Like, I mean, the ones I've seen the videos of are in people's homes. That is terrifying.
This was the kitchen.
But it wasn't your house.
No, I wouldn't like to see it in my house. I wouldn't
be okay with seeing
it. There was one that we saw coming down at the top of the door, like not even from the side, kind of the head coming down. Do you remember that from the top lintel of the door? That was fucked up. I don't like that shit. If you're going to come and visit me, get the fuck off my ceiling or we're going to have a fucking problem. Like,
I just don't like the whole idea of them, you know, just peeking around the corner and then you run to go to the corner and they're gone.
Because it's fucking rude.
It's not rude, it's terrifying. They could be there all the time after. That's all I'd never be comfortable again. All it'll be on my mind is every time I sit in the fucking couch and watch TV is it watching me from behind? Is it fucking at the door now? I'd be looking at the door constantly. Every time I'd be walking around the house on my own, I'd be wondering, is it there? Is it at one of the doors? Is it watching me?
There goes being naked comfortably in your own home.
So yeah, so I don't like them, but at the same time, I understand how the videos I've seen could have been faked. That's all I'm saying.
Okay.
Well, I'm not discounting it. I mean, most people who have had experiences will say they've seen these things around places. And again, if I go with fucking the lads from Pukavogue on some fucking trip to fucking a castle and stuff like that, and I see one of them, all good, no problem then. But if I come back home and I'm chilling out watching South Park in the sitting room and suddenly I see a fucking silhouette in the TV of some black thing behind me, we're moving.
I'm telling you, I'd crab walk out of that sitting room so fast on my way back to the wall. If you could see the reflection of the TV, yeah, no.
Yeah, that's I honest to God, we were going into this episode and I was like, I love Jeff the Talking Mongoose and I love the Shadow Person stories, but I don't think it's going to fill up much time. And now I'm wondering where the fuck we're going to find time for the Somerton Man and this other serial killer one. What's her name again?
Amelia Dyer. So she was known as the Ogress of Reading. She was an English serial killer and she murdered, about 400 unknown infants in her care over a 30-year period.
She looks
like a man in drag, in Victorian drag.
Kind of like Robin Williams if he was doing a horror version of fucking of Mrs. Doubtfire. His face looks very much like Robin Williams.
There's somebody else though that she definitely reminds me of, and I think we've seen him as something. Is it
if you cropped
the guy from Wild Wild West? That's not Will Smith.
Oh yeah, I can see that. Yeah. If you cropped down and just showed me her eyes, nose, and mouth, I would 100% say that was an old man.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, like she only died. She died when she was about 58, 59, right? So in that picture, she'd have been about 55, 56, but she easily looks about 70.
Yeah. Stern looking woman.
Absolutely. So basically she was baby farming. So baby farming was kind of legal, but you couldn't kill them. But
that's what I was saying last week. I was surprised when I was doing author Gary Bishop, and I was like, I thought this story would be way, way too much for you. Because I thought you just couldn't handle that kind of stuff. And then you came fucking swinging out the gates with this bitch here. And it's like, whoa, fucking hell.
See, I don't know what it is that attracts me so much to like the old, like not even like cold cases or anything like that. I mean, like they're kind of open and shut cases. Like we know who did it, but like they're so old and there's still kind of that bit of mystery about them. Like, but now like there's so much information readily available about every fucking.
I suppose as well when you think about something that far back, you can nearly disassociate a little bit, and it seems more like something out of a book or a movie or something like that.
There is. That as well. I mean, like Alice Roberts did a whole episode on it was basically like a whole load of neonates found behind this Roman villa place, but they basically worked out that it was obviously a brothel, and all the prostitutes that were getting pregnant, their newborn babies were being brought outside and like slaughtered and whatever.
Fucking
and like yeah, but I mean, like when it's that far back, I mean, like she was saying, like, you know, she was after having a baby like 2 weeks beforehand or something like that, and she went on to this site. She said it's awful, and you do feel like that kind of like it's a sense of sadness, but like because it's literally what you said, you disassociate. It's that far back, like, you know.
Whereas someone like fucking Arthur Bishop is kind of still that guy fucking.
Yeah.
It's just,
I mean, like you can see him in a photo, not like that where it could be a photo or it could be a badly drawn picture of a man in drag. They're tangible.
Well, that's it. We're closer to the 80s than we were fucking in 1893. So yeah.
But I think there's something about like those. I mean, there's 400 kids there that like, you know, they're not going to be remembered. Whereas I mean, like there's victims there that they're named, they can be remembered. You know, and like
her numbers rival the top fucking crazy fucking Colombian people in it. So I have a list here of the top serial killers for numbers wise, like because we were curious at one stage, you know, who was what, and I used it for mini monsters for a long time. I was just literally kind of went with the top guy and started working my way down. That's how I found Pedro Lopez and Javed Iqbal, Mikhail Popkov, all those guys.
Yeah.
And their numbers, I mean, Colombia, Ecuador, Peru, you know, Venezuela, places like that. This is where you're getting the guys who killed up to, I think, proven top one is 193, but it could be anywhere up to 300 victims. And then you have this one who goes completely unnoticed by everybody, and a story I've never heard before, and it's like 400 plus. This would put her as the top fucking serial killer in the world, you know?
I don't think they can quite commit to it, because there's always like a bit more, a bit less, like of other like serial killers. But I think that basically what they're getting at by repeating it.
Henry Lee Lucas situation.
No, not at all. But I think by repeating it, because, you know, like they can't say for definite that she was, but I think by repeating it throughout all this article that it's like basically we're going to keep saying it, because she probably is the most prolific serial killer. But yeah, it was and I think that as well, if she was charging more for the upkeep of the babies, she probably wouldn't have killed as much. But there were some mothers that were like handing over their babies for, and like paying a $5 for their upkeep.
Found this strange as well. When you said that this struck me as strange. I was like, I would have thought she'd be paying for the babies. You know, not charging people like, I'll take the baby off your hands. I was like, nowadays you got to pay thousands for fucking a surrogate or fucking or adoption.
Back then, to maintain your reputation and for you to go to work as a single mother, you'd have to pay for somebody to take your child. Like, it's basically like a childminder, but like they get the child. Do you know?
Permanent childminder.
Yeah, basically, yeah.
But yeah, that kind of caught me off guard.
I mean, it's that or go into the workhouse.
Yeah. It is
so fucked up.
It's a lot.
Absolutely. Like, I mean,
how old is she? How was she killing those?
So there was things on the market containing opium. They were
she was just overdosing them. Like.
Yeah. There was one called Godfrey's Cordial or Mother's Friend, and that was a frequent choice. There was apparently opium killed far more infants through starvation than directly through overdose. That's how bad like the opium problem was anyway back then, before you even got to giving it to the kids. Like,
she was giving the kids drugs, and then when they got the munchies, she was letting them fucking starve. She was holding out in the munchies for the kids. This is essentially
no, as in like
I'm so
it was just a comment on how bad the opium problem was in Victorian London at that stage. That opium was killing babies, because of this syrup, but it was also killing them because their parents were too fucking obsessed with opium to feed their kids.
Oh, I took it as there was too much opium, but that's not the case here, because she's not going to be fucked up on opium.
But she was just overdosing them on them. On opium. That's how readily, but I'm just saying that's how readily available opium was at the time. Like, she could get to overdose the kids, and parents could take it.
Like opium dens and stuff like that around, and I mean, they were fairly common, weren't they?
They were, yeah.
And I mean, essentially, what is opium again? That's essentially fucking heroin, isn't it?
It comes from I mean, like it's essentially like tramadol, saltadol, all that. Like it comes from opium.
If it's anything like tramadol, Jesus Christ.
It works wonders on a pain, but my God,
I had to take 2 last week.
With that, and it's
I would never more. This day last week, I had to take 2 of them. And the next day, I was fucked up. Jesus
Heartburn,
Christ.
nauseousness. When my brother took him, he said that he woke up one night and he was freaking out. Mom was like, "What's wrong?" He's like, "I have no neck." And then the night after, Mom was standing at the bottom of the stairs, and this is like at 3 o'clock in the morning. She could hear all this singing, and Sean upstairs in his sleep singing, "Adele, someone like you." And that's tramadol. That's why some people snort it.
We do not condone that.
We don't know, but I'm just saying. Yeah. Absolutely not. But anyway, so like she had a lot of aliases as well, and this is how she got away with a lot of stuff. She had spells in mental hospitals as well, but people were all like, "Hang on now 2 seconds, you're after being accused of like terrible shit and you just happen to go insane." And this happened every time that she thought that people were onto her. And
so they're getting too close. I need to start working on my alibi.
Oh yeah, exactly. And then there was some people that said that, you know, like her mental instability could be related to substance abuse, because was she taking the opium as well as overdosing the kids on opium? I will say, I'm like, did you do the laughing granny?
Nanny Das.
Yeah, I don't like the way, at least, I know it's fucking terrible, but at least with opium, you're not getting a fucking needle to the fucking brain.
Well,
it's either fucking every way. What?
They don't know for sure if that happened. When Nanny Das, it was that was the mother thought she saw her holding it, and they thought she had like a dream about it or something like that, and then the child was dead, and they went looking, and they thought it might have maybe been something there. They weren't 100% sure. They were never able to prove that. That's only a theory that happened because, well, she killed the rest of her family. You know, you're knocking the rest of them off when they became inconvenient.
Yeah.
But, fuck, what was I going to say there? What was she getting out of this?
Money.
Was she getting paid by the government to have him, like?
No, she was getting paid by the mothers to keep him. So, like, as in,
Well, that's just like a tenner here and there.
Yeah, but now tenner would have been kind of substantial back then, but that's why she went through them so quick. That's literally what I said. She would, like, yeah, it's like,
yeah,
right,
I thought she was getting them for some sort of scam as well on top of it. But then again, I mean, look,
sell off their baby clothes that
as
were
bad
sent
as
with
records
them.
might have been, they're going to notice if you're taking off 400 fucking child benefit fucking.
But I mean, like, but it's not just the money that she was getting handed over by the parents. Like, you know, like, there'd be children's clothes, stuff like that, toys that were sent with them and all, and she'd keep a few items of children's clothes, but then she'd sell off the rest of it.
And then she'd give her landlady fucking boots for her daughter, or something like that. Dead baby.
So fucking awful.
And she left one of them alive because one of them helped her.
Yeah, well, one of them did.
Her husband.
And then there was a few bodies found in the Thames.
And she, you'll know they're mine if they have a string wrapped around their neck.
Exactly.
It was like, oh, fuck.
Yeah, it was like, I think it's bias binding is what it sounds like to me. So it's a thing
tape,
that,
wasn't it?
Yeah, but the way they describe it would be the same as bias binding that you put on kind of like edging of clothes and stuff like that. Like,
I heard edging, I just thought it was like masking tape or something like that. Like I used to paint.
No, if it's used in tailoring, it kind of goes around the edge. I think I have some upstairs. I'll show you. It's kind of like a sturdy ribbon. You know, I can describe it. But the fact then that she says, like, you know, I think in one of her confessions she said that she had to take it off one kid's neck that she'd literally just strangled, and then like
use that.
Yeah, straight away I was just so fucked up.
Look, again, mental instability and all that, but this is again, I suppose time, and there wouldn't be people to watch it. If this was today, someone like that would probably be monitored earlier on in their life for mental instabilities, like, you know.
I think the judge kind of ruled.
Oh, it was fake.
You're faking.
But you have to be mentally unstable to kill 400 babies.
Or just really fucking greedy and evil.
Yes, fucking.
I honestly do believe that's what it was, that she was fucking greedy and she was fucking evil. She was also linked to Jack the Ripper at times, but I mean, like, that's ludicrous.
It's completely different crimes. Two different victim pools, two different MOs, two different styles. I mean,
it's less believable than H.H. Holmes.
Jack the Ripper has to be rather a doctor or a butcher, isn't it? Most likely medical training is what they were expecting, yeah?
Yeah, but I mean, like, when you look at his letters are so fucking awful. There's no way that he was medically trained. Like,
but
or was
that
him
could be
just
done on purpose.
Yeah,
you know?
There's like all these contradicting things, like in that
especially
case,
if it's a high class person.
Which we're doing on Playing with Bones in 2 weeks.
Awesome. But if you're a high class person and you don't want to be caught, you're going to be like, oh, well, I'll sound like one of the dumb lower class ones and they'll only suspect them. So you're going to write your letters badly.
I will say, when I was researching for that episode, I was reading one of them, and remember I said to you, I was like, doesn't say in t'other instead of the other. That sounds very Irish.
And they know that one or two of those letters were fake as well, don't they?
I don't believe the kidney one was fake. I believe the kidney one was real.
Was it only like one or two tops that they have that I think are legitimate?
But even the writing on the wall about the Jews, they're not sure if that was there anyway or if it was actually linked to the murder. Because there was a lot of graffiti concerning the Jews about that around the Whitechapel area at the time.
He wasn't going after Jewish people. He was going after prostitutes.
Yeah, but but it's not that he was going after Jews. He was pointing the finger at the Jews, saying
it was their fault.
Yeah.
How?
Again, how? Again, it's one of these things that
if all else fails, blame the Jews.
It's awful, but it is fucking awful. But it just seems to happen again and again and again. I mean, like, every so often, like, I'll be researching things and they'd be like, and 400 Jews are expelled from the country, or like 600 Jews were thrown down the well, and it's like, holy shit, like, it just doesn't fucking stop. Every fucking country, like.
Do you think that's what finally happened over in fucking Israel? That they're all just there and they're like, right, they fucked us over so many times over history that there's no possible way they will come and blame us for this. They'll be like, nah, look, we've given them a lot of grief for it. We blame them for everything else. This can't be their fault. We can't blame them again for this situation. And they're like, so we can do whatever the fuck we want. And they think they can get... Well, they are getting away with it. No one's really doing anything about it.
Maybe we should give them a stern talking to because we never fucked them out about it.
Yeah.
See?
No Jewish people. We've never even get... I don't think there was never a thing about anti-Semitism in our country because we've never had any Jewish people.
I'm not a Jewish person. You
keep bringing that up. You've met like 2 Jewish people in your life over thousands of Catholics and Protestants.
But I don't get out much either, so...
Yeah, I don't know. But was she blaming the Jews?
No,
sorry, we're talking about Jack the Ripper. They were saying she was Jack the Ripper. How did they manage to come across that, or was it just because she was a big name and they wanted to link a big name to it?
There was an author called William Stewart, and he basically, there was a woman called Mary Piercy was his chosen real suspect, but it was just because she was alive. She was a murderer alive at the time of the Jack the Ripper in or around the same vicinity. Wasn't even properly in London. But I mean, like...
Go to fucking California in the 80s. I mean, there was a lot of them working around the same time. Like, that's a common thing.
We know people that lived in America in the 80s and we're not going around going, holy shit, he's such and such or they're such and such. I mean, pinning it just because this person lived at the same time.
But like you said, anyone who was a killer at that time was pinned to him. Like you said, H.H. Holmes was pinned to him. Which, to be honest with you, personality-wise,
it did seem
fine.
Convincing to watch the documentary and then they just lost me.
Why, what did they say in the documentary?
Remember, it was like H.H. Holmes, great.
Yeah, they said he went to London for a while and then he came back.
Yeah, but there was just something that just...
Cash grab.
Yeah, it didn't make sense. What did make sense was very flimsy and very like, okay, well, I suppose if this happened, that would make sense. I don't know.
Look, Jack the Ripper is just going to be one of those ones that's never going to be solved. Ever. Like, they can't be solved at this stage. It's not like you're going to find new DNA in the fucking situation. It's not like they're going to suddenly find new fucking documents on the situation. At this point, if that was going to be solved, it would be fucking solved. Oh, Amy's freaking out here. A spider must have been in the vicinity. Did you get it?
I think so.
Is it dead?
It's on the end.
Don't say anything on the fucking... Don't implicate yourself in any animal cruelty.
I threw my slippers over there. It was the dog.
Oh, was that a big one?
Yes.
It's that time of year, Amy.
Yeah.
Told you.
That I don't let my feet touch the floor anymore.
Here they come. So she eventually was executed, was she?
Oh, yeah, she was well executed. Well, sure, she was hung. She deserved a lot more being hung. You see, this is what the fucking treason punishment should have been reserved for, being hung, drawn, and quartered. This is the kind of shit where this fucking that type of execution should be used. She was basically it took the jury 4.5 minutes to find her guilt. She was held for 3 weeks, I think, before she was actually executed, and then she was hanged by James Billington at Newgate Prison on Wednesday, the 10th of June, 1896. And when she was asked on the scaffold if she had anything to say, she said,
I'm Jack the Ripper. No, she didn't say that.
No, she said, I've got nothing to say, and then she was dropped at about 9 a.m.
Oh, they made her fucking get up early for her execution. Leave her have a lie in at least. Do it at lunchtime.
I probably wouldn't sleep. Do you know what was really shitty though? Imagine not sleeping the night before, but Anne Boleyn was supposed to be beheaded. Like, do you know, like one day it was like, okay, you're going to die tomorrow at like dawn or whatever, or 12 o'clock, whatever time it was. And then like they came in a few hours before it was supposed to happen. They're like, well, it's not going to happen today. Nothing's ready. So probably tomorrow at this time. And then this time tomorrow comes and they're like, no, well, he's still not here. So imagine that. Working yourself up day after fucking day.
But eventually when it comes, you're just like, yeah, it's not fucking happening. So you'd be like, cool walking out there. They're going to pull back at some point.
And die screaming because you didn't realise that they're not going to pull out.
But that's her. She seems... That's an interesting story. I've never heard of her before.
Can't believe you've never heard of her.
I couldn't find any documentaries about her either.
Ooh, there's a market opening.
So, yeah, cool story. Enjoyed it. She's a fucking angry looking bitch. Jesus Christ. They have a fucking proper police photo over here.
Mm-hmm. They do.
She looks more feminine than that one.
She looks like she'd fit into Coronation Street or something.
I could tell that she was a woman in that one. The kind of artsy one above, that's a drawing, is it?
No, I'd say that's one of those, hang on 2 seconds. There's a type, It says photograph, but there's like different types of photograph. There's like different plates and a daguerreotype and stuff like that. So I don't think it's an actual our type of photograph.
Dyer upon entry to Wells Asylum. Oh yeah. That was a picture of her when she was going into the asylum.
Oh, I see. She probably
well
wanted
dressed
to
for a
make
lady
her
going to the
as
crazy place.
loopy as possible. Huh?
Well, she's well dressed, like, for a woman going to an asylum.
Who put the fucking hat on top of her head? That's ridiculous. Well dressed.
It goes with the rest of the
No,
ensemble.
do you know what? She fits straight in with one of the like hardcore wizards in Harry Potter.
I can see her as a man. Yeah, it's the haircut.
Mrs. Fig or someone.
Oh God! Come on, we got to get on with this. We're running out of time
The
here, and we still got the
Somerton
Somerton Man to go. And this took you 40 fucking minutes to record. No, sorry. It took about 2.5 hours to record 40 minutes of this fucking story. I still don't know what it's about because I was kind of tired at that point. But
right. Okay. So basically, a guy was found on the 1st December 1948 on the beach at Somerton Park, a suburb of Adelaide in South Australia. And the way to describe it, he was found, it's like he'd be relaxing against the rocks on the beach.
Yeah. Already it sounds like, just because of the timing and everything, this is war related.
Oh, there's thought he could be a spy, yeah. And but basically he was found on the beach. There was kind of some speculation that he might have had a heart attack. There was a couple that passed the night before, and they were like, the night that were like, like last night when we were passing, he was in that same position, but he was kind of like extending his arm and bringing it back down. That to me sounds like someone that's like heart attack, like is and but he had like a coded message that was on the inside of a book. So basically he had a scrap of paper in his, there was no identification on him, first of all. His labels were removed off the clothes. He had a scrap of paper saying Tamam Shud, meaning end, or it's finished. And they knew that it was the end of a book called The Rubaiyat of Omar Khayyam.
What nationality is that book?
That is 2 seconds.
Persia, the astronomer poet
from Persia. Yeah.
I'm just wondering if you could work out what country from what he was reading, because obviously you have to know the language of the book, do you know?
But it was Fitzgerald's translation though, so it was an English translation.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's like the way like Shakespeare has like like edited by and or like there'll be other things like translated by, like it was literally just a translation of the book. So they were able to track down the actual book that it came from to a taxi man who had picked up this guy kind of a few weeks beforehand, and he had left the book in the back of the car. But there was a code in the book, and literally, I think everybody I know a lot of people know what this is about, but basically they weren't able to identify this man. They're still not able to identify this man. There's some kind of theories about who he might be, but like the people that matter haven't said, okay, yeah, that's exactly who that person is. Do you know, that kind of way.
Did the taxi man give any description? Was he able to say like what fucking accent he was speaking in or anything? Because that will give you a bit of a clue. I mean, if he's talking in a Russian accent, then maybe Russian spy. If he's talking in an English accent, well, you wouldn't know them because Australia are linked to England as well, aren't they?
Yeah.
But I don't know. It's a strange. I mean, are they still looking into this? I mean,
they're saying here that like that the code has never been broken. Like, a lot of people, this is like the Zodiac code. This is one of these things that a lot of people do look into, that the code has never been broken. But I was on Reddit, right? Mm-hmm. And there was a comment 13 years ago from Leconfield. And he reckoned that he had broken down the code. And basically the first line is number, like, it's the number 124 and then a big, like, code of letters. And he reckoned that it was represented a numbered cable sent by Moscow to its Russian embassy in Canberra, Australia. And between the months of August and October 1948. But, like, when you look at everything, like, what this man is saying, like, really kind of like works out when you look at all his explanations and you line it up line by line, that this man was actually like a Russian spy, and he believed that basically that it represented the top half of the code represented messages going back from an Australian spy group to Russia.
Okay, he does look Russian, to be fair.
He does kind of look Russian, doesn't he? But also, yeah.
But he also looks like he could be Irish. I've seen that kind of face as well. They found a suitcase in Adelaide railway station. Do they know this to be his? Like, the label was removed.
Yeah, so it was believed that the suitcase was owned by the man. There was a red checked dressing gown, a size 7 red felt pair of slippers, and there's all these, like, different
Amy,
clothes.
T. Keane. This cunt was Irish.
No, he wasn't. His brother-in-law. If it was the same person, if it's one of the people that it's suspected that it could be, his brother-in-law's name was T. Keane. It was Thomas Keane, and they reckon that he was a tailor, and that he might have gotten close from him. But this is one of
Could
the
that Thomas Keane guy not fucking tell?
He's dead.
Could they not tell who his brother-in-law was from that and what he was up to? I suppose again.
It's all happened. This is the 40s, like.
But yeah, but you'd have to assume at this time in the 40s, their espionage shit is at the top of its game, isn't it? This is where they have the spies. This is when spies would probably have been at their most active.
Yeah, and I will just point out we just did Who Put Bella in the Witch Tree. That was proposed to be a spy as well around the same time period, and that poor girl will never ever be identified because the spy that they thought that she was died. Kind of they have a pinpointed death for her, and it's thought that she might be a spy, but it's so fucked up.
In the 40s, like, you just come across random dead bodies. It sounds like a proper fucking, like, what you see the CIA. What do you think the CIA is now? Like, they were just like fucking, one day you're living undercover, next thing,
you're gone. Yeah.
But saying that, if this guy had a heart attack, it sounds like it was just fucking natural causes. And I mean, like, not having his ID on him, that's not out of the ordinary. I don't walk around with ID on me all the fucking time.
Yeah.
No, I have a phone that will probably identify who I am. But, I mean, again, Facebook would have been great at this time. We would have found out who this guy was within a couple of days. No problem. Anybody know this chap? DM me there.
Exactly. You haven't found in a few hours.
But, did anything really come of this? Or it's an interesting story.
It is an interesting story. Again, there's like so much like up in the air. There's kind of like DNA done, and there's some people saying it's conclusive, and other groups saying that it's not conclusive. And then there was one woman that she was questioned in relation to. I can't remember how they tracked down and then she was questioned in relation to him, and they had taken a death mask of him after they found him, and they showed her the death mask, and apparently she was like, and she's like, don't know.
She Bugs Bunny them.
Yeah. But her daughter then afterwards, when she was interviewed years later, she reckoned that the mother knew him as well.
He about 5'5", black hair, big white teeth, scar over his left eye. Never met him. It's a fucking dick. But yeah, I can see the cast here. Yeah, it's a weird one, but I mean, it's not. I suppose not all the order. I mean, there is also like a lot of bachelors who could, like, it could have been a guy who had no fucking real links and just had a heart attack, like, which is kind of sad as well. You know, someone who had no real ties anywhere, who just happened to fucking, you know, eventually die, and this happened to be the place he was in when he died. You know,
yeah, but he must have been chilled out. Apparently at 11 p.m. the night before, he ate a pasty on the beach.
God, the last pasty ever. Huh?
He died at about 2 a.m. He was found at 6:30. And then on the 14th of January, that's when they found the brown suitcase, which belonged to him. And then the 14th of June, so like 6 months later, is when they found the Tamam Shud thing, like 6 months later.
Did they find anything else in the suitcase, bar the name? Was there any more codes or anything like that? Because I think that would start to build up the spy fucking
might
story.
Have been normal. He had slippers and all in the suitcase, tweed dressing gown. Do you know what I mean? It sounds like some of them might have been.
But again, don't they say when it comes to spies, it's not the kind of James Bond thing you think when it comes to like their everyday life, that usually it's they're the most boring, mundane people you're going to know, people who fit in the background that you won't pay much attention to, like, you know. Yeah. So I mean, why would he have any? It's not all gadgets and fucking spy gear, like, is what I'm saying. Like, it's a bit more subtle than that, and you know, the codes would be the big thing here. Especially because of the time frame, you know? Yeah. And the whole kind of seeming like it's being covered up a little bit afterwards, where people aren't trying very fucking hard to find out who the person is, even though they're saying they're trying to find out who it is. Do you know? I do think they worked hard. I mean, they were able to try to track down that book to a fucking taxi. Like, what was with the DNA? Whose DNA was that? DNA, 2 seconds. So they were able to take the DNA from hair that had got stuck to the death mask. But the only thing is that formaldehyde would have destroyed a lot of the DNA in the hair also from the embalming process. Okay. I thought they found DNA maybe on the suitcase or something. But yeah.
Oh yeah, no, but
what
like
are they
they
gonna do
did
with DNA
actually,
back then?
like they were trying to apply to have the body exhumed and to have actual like DNA done, and they applied for exhumation of the thing for DNA of the body for DNA of the thing for DNA. But in 2019, then it was granted, and they extracted DNA, and then a potential granddaughter's DNA was planned then to be compared, and just let me see the results of that.
That should be one that they put on one of those ancestry fucking websites, because that's something where you might fucking find them, like, you know?
That's true. Actually,
that would be your best bet, I would have to assume, because you're going to get some links straight away. You're always going to get some hits. So, I mean, from those hits, you'd eventually be able to work your way back. It might take some time, but you'd eventually get there.
So, basically, they were only able to take an analysis of the mitochondrial DNA from the hair sample. Because all the other DNA was degraded by the formaldehyde. They found that the Somerton man belonged to the haplogroup H4A1A1A, possessed by only 1% European. So he can be narrowed down somewhat, but it is only, mitochondrial DNA is only passed down through the maternal line. So there's some lines like, as in like, they could well be related to these people that they're trying to establish a relationship to, but if they're not related through the maternal line, it's not going to be proved by this DNA.
It's kind of sad, and I think a lot of humans kind of want to be remembered when they die, and it's kind of sad that you're remembered for not being remembered. You know?
Did he want that? I know there's some types of poison that can go unaccounted for. We touched that. I was in the Chicago Tylenol murders,
Maybe
wasn't it?
that fucking pasty was fucking.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, there are poisons that, like, they, you know, and they, like, when the Chicago Tylenol murders where it happened, the media weren't even allowed to say, like, you know, like, witnesses, star witnesses, you know, like the professionals that make the drugs weren't allowed to give the names of the poison because they're so fucking deadly. They're so undetectable that, like, you could kill somebody and get away with it. They weren't allowed to release the names of this. So, I mean, like, is this something that, like, maybe he wanted to die, maybe he wanted to go unnoticed, maybe he didn't want to be remembered, maybe he did something fucked up a few
Maybe he was assassinated by pasty. Maybe he bought that pasty, sat down, ate it, and then realised, oh, I'm in fucking trouble here.
Yeah.
Turns out the dude that works in the bakery is also a spy.
It's also part of the KGB.
That fucking guy with the American accent in the fucking pastry shop's after killing me. Oh, God. And all these years later, we're fucking about 90 years later, closing in on 90 years later, and those fuckers are still staring each other out of it, fucking threatening the other one to move.
Aye.
Longest game of chess ever. See you next week.